All right,
Started off right.
right. And see, it does this shit again. I hate it. Why does it do this? Okay, never mind. It's working now. The fuck?
Why does it lie?
Who would do that? Just go and tell lies on the internet.
All right.
But yeah, like right as soon as I was about to hop in the Discord, someone, a salesman comes to my door and knocks.
Do they sell you Jesus?
No, he sold me fucking gigabit internet finally.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
We fucking leveling up, dog. Just a few weeks ago, I was shit talking them, telling them to hurry their shit up with their fiber installation. Guess what? We made it, boys.
You won. I was
Installation this week.
I was sitting in my car. I forget what was going on, but I was kind of like just having that moment. You know, when you get home and you're like, I'm just gonna sit in the car for a little while.
Yeah.
Did that, and I
Just
saw
complete silence, not even the radio on.
Yeah, and I saw two missionaries with their white suits like walk around to every apartment. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out here for a little while longer. They fucking knock on my door at 9:30 at night. I was playing Resident Evil 7 and I was like hanging out and just here knocking. I'm like, what? Who the fuck's here this late? This does not make me want to come to Jesus.
Yeah. Fuck y'all. Get out of here.
I'll fucking send you to Jesus. You knock on my door that late.
Yeah, you want to meet him?
Yeah, I'm like, we live in a very crime-heavy state. Why are you knocking on my door at 9:30? Trying to meet a maker there. All right.
Is your favorite cheese Swiss?
They're all ready?
Super duper ready.
Can you hear this rumbling? This one right here in a second. Look, listen.
A little bit,
I can
yeah.
hear, like, it sounds like a vibrator in your pocket.
Yeah, it's my foot massager that I've had for like 5 years.
Oh,
and
it is a vibrator.
Yeah.
On your pocket.
I've had this since Blue Ruby started. I just never really plug it in, but every once in a while I'm like, you know what? I should plug that thing in. It feels amazing.
I have this thing. It's like a little spiked massage ball. That's what I
Ooh.
use on my feet.
Nice. Yeah, I bought
Roll
this.
your feet around it.
I don't know why I bought this, but it's got a massager and it's got a heater on it. It's fantastic. David, about done? About ready?
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm just fucking trying to fix things. Don't mind me. My Windows instance fucking shit itself on the last update. And so I haven't put a stable version of Linux on my gaming computer in a while. So I'm running off of like a fuck around build I set up like 4 months ago.
Nice.
So I'm having to like fix and adjust things as we're going.
No worries. Do it. Just mute Mike when you're typing.
Have you ever had a smoothie style beer?
Ooh.
That's what I'm sipping on.
No, no, I haven't. That sounds amazing though.
This one it's a sour ale, smoothie style ale with apple, marionberry, and kiwi.
That sounds amazing.
It's called a Kiwi McSqueezy.
I will have to keep an eye out for that now. That sounds fucking fantastic.
I want David to ask for that at the bar.
Well, the thing is, you might find them because my wife just recently went on a work trip to Minnesota and they had this brand there. It's a local, it's called Prairie Artisan Ales.
Okay.
And they specialize in sours. And I guess even as far north as Minnesota has them.
All right, fair. I'll keep an eye out for that then.
Can I have a kiwi? What is it called?
Kiwi McSqueezy.
I want David to ask for that at a bar with a straight face.
I would do that
like, yo,
easily.
You got any prairie? You got any prairie beers, bro? Hey, dude, you got any prairies? That's how they ask for it in Minnesota.
All right, everyone's got all their games and all their other fun shit.
Yeah, dude, all the fun shit.
Any of the non-game stuff you want to show off, all that's collected.
Welcome to the Blue Reese Podcast, episode number 267. Is that what it is, or am I wrong? Hold on, I don't think I fixed that. I'm already.
You could say it's episode 490.
268. We're on.
It's episode flip flop.
Yeah, we're almost to the third time we hit the funny number.
Hell yeah.
I'm Adrian. That's David. That's Kels. This is our video game podcast. We go live on youtube.com/@bluerupees every Tuesday. We talk about video games. We talk about a bunch of other random stuff. You never know. You never know. This week, we compiled a list of games that we felt from last week. We read a list, of essential games. So we compiled our own list, and we're gonna do some round robin, start eliminating and compiling. So what I want you guys to do actually is to send me your lists. I will make us a document. We're gonna share it, and I'll compile this list in a certain way. But just send me your lists. It could be on the Facebook chat, whatever, and I'll make us a doc here while we're talking.
Okay,
Oh shit, yeah.
That
I gotta
list.
retype mine real quick because that was on my Windows side. 1 second.
Oh, okay. I thought you just forgot for a second. I was like, we just talked about this.
No, I had it done. Again, it was just on my Windows side. So give me a second to retype that.
So mine is in like no specific list or rhyme or reason. It's just kind of like spastically wrote out as I start remembering stuff.
That's fair. So all
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna compile our list, and I'm gonna get what our mutuals are and throw them like on there, and then we'll start making arguments for our other ones. You know. So we'll I will do all that here in a second. Why is my chat not popping up? There we are. If anyone's in the chat, my bad. Say hello again, because it did not pop up the
Hello.
first time.
Greetings.
We did an audio check.
Audio.
I assume we're not on fire this time.
Audio.
David, speak. We're not on fire this time.
Wah, 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 wah.
David, speak.
Or do you want me to use
Riveting.
like real words?
Riveting. Yeah, my bad, y'all. But we're going. I'm not stopping recording. So how's you guys been doing? What's the week been like?
It's been fucking weak. Been sick as a dog.
It's going around
my-
lately.
Yeah, as you guys have heard on the podcast last couple episodes, my voice has been going in and out. I started to get better over the weekend, mostly because I just fucking slept all goddamn weekend. I fucking slept, and it was wonderful and horrible at the same time.
I did the same thing where I felt like I just slept away the entire weekend almost, and like, yeah, you're like, oh cool, my body needed it, but also like you're like, fuck, well there goes 2 days.
There goes a 3-day fucking weekend.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going through that too. Kels?
So I had pretty much a lazy weekend. Did a little bit of yard work. That was fun. Got some stuff knocked out. But other than that, I spent a good portion of my weekend doing something that might spoil what we played this week.
Okay. Had our students had their homecoming. Chaperone for that, and
Damn, already? That's kind of crazy.
yeah, for whatever reason our school decided to do everything in the first month, which is why I've been just not able to do too much.
They front loaded all.
They did. No, they really did. Like we had open house, we had our homecoming, we had everything the first month, which was hell. But like now it's like, all right, cool. We're like not doing anything for a long time, which is nice. But yeah. So they had that, and the kids these days and their hip hops and their R&Bs, you know, they do. There's like a lot of like rap music like that. And there's some occasional other songs like for the first little bit, the DJ was throwing up a bunch of the songs that I knew. I was like, cool. A chunk of songs I didn't know. But you know what? Every time I see these dances, I'm like, you know what? There's a severe lack of representation for the rock kids. You know, we need, and I'm not even talking like I'm talking like the general, the biggest, widest net of just like I need a guitar and drums in this song for anything, please.
All right, so I'm the metalhead here, and I will tell you that I don't think that's conducive for like a homecoming or like a dance or anything.
You need to represent everyone. I feel like you need to have a little bit of something for everyone.
Sure, I just don't think there's like a metal song that's gonna.
Well, that doesn't have to be metal. So I'll get to there were a handful of songs. I will say I got a recording of the entire homecoming rapping "Not Like Us," which I was just losing my shit because it's just we just got to a point where just a entire assembly of high schoolers saying Drake is a certified pedophile, which is just really funny. But they played 3 songs in the rock, and I know again I'm using it loosely. You'll see, not too badly, but rock category, and we're talking like the first like 10 minutes they played Mr. Brightside, which there was like no one there yet, so they're all right. I'm with the girlfriend. We're both chaperoning, and I'm just like, where's like all this? Anyway, she walks off, and like the one time she walks off, I Write Sins popped up, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I actually ran out there, and I was like, all right, I was like, this is gonna be the only rock song I hear the entire night. So I was like, all right, cool. So I started jumping in there and getting all hyped up. Saw a handful of my students. I'm like, and they afterwards they're like, man, you go really hard. I'm like, we have to get some rock going. Like, what the fuck? But the best part of the night was I started hearing drums, and again, when you catch me severely off guard, like I am like the gerbil and the what do you call it? The circle thing. What do they call that? Why am I blanking on it?
Circle pit.
The hamster wheel.
Oh, hamster.
Yeah,
There you go.
I was like, it's like you can see that in my brain. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I heard drums, and then all of a sudden they just breaks into chop suey. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. All right, yeah. In the middle of like fucking just random ass shit, it was just chop suey. I'm like sick. So I managed to like, I squeezed my way in there, and I like made a little bit of a circle, and I was like, all right, mosh pit. And some of the teachers started freaking out, but I was like, I got this. I'm supervising. We're good. Let's go. So started a mosh pit at homecoming, and that felt good. I did my due diligence there. On the flip side of things, Monday was pretty eventful. If only that June the King's 3-hour and 42-minute DSP documentary went up. So you can watch my entire reaction and watch through of that on youtube.com/@depunked. Shouts to Kyle, former Senzo Kojima and DSP hater member, also joining in for the first half. And that was fun. That was quite a ride. If you ever
TLDR, cover all cameras before you jerk your dick.
dude, he had the best transition into that. What was it? He's like, there was something that they were talking about, like I don't know, it was so much stuff, but I guess talking about like some troll or something, and they had a picture of DSP, and he's going through his narration. He's like, but that's not the only thing that was coming. And then just hard cut to DSP's face. It was so good. But yeah, no, it was a ride. I was so excited. I told or June the King posted like on Friday saying, all right, Monday it's up. And I'm like, all right, told the girlfriend, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be busy on Monday. She's like, what's up? I'm like, there's a documentary, a long one about a guy I really hate. And she's like, oh, is it that weird one that's in front of the chair all the time? Or in front of the webcam all the time? I'm like, yeah, that guy. She's like, all right, cool.
Some say in front of the webcam at inopportune moments.
Yeah, not covering it. Oh, the camera's on. I didn't even know. Hello. Love it. But yeah, so that whole thing's up there if you want to watch it. Otherwise, let's hustle through this. There was just a little bit of news we'll get to, but I mostly want to focus on this list because I like a conversational style thing. But before we get to all that, for sure, David, what'd you get this week?
Hell yeah. So got a couple digital things not worth mentioning. I got a copy of The Raven Remastered, a very beat up copy of it, but it was $2. Who cares? Never even heard of it, but again, fuck it. Fills out the Xbox library a bit. Speaking of, I got a physical copy of The Division 2 because why not?
Hell yeah.
$2 for
Online
that.
required.
That's right. I snagged this. This is probably the most expensive single title I bought for this past week. This was a whopping $4, but $4 well spent. A complete box copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Is it complete in box? Because it doesn't come with the big box.
It's not a big box version.
Got him.
I do tend to like big box versions but honestly, I try to go for the not
It
big
takes too
box
much
versions
fucking.
when I can.
It takes too much space.
Takes so much space, and the big box versions go for a lot more. So to
But-
get the big box version of that is like $40 usually.
Plus, such a bitch to take care of over time.
Yup.
I used to save my 64 case. I think my mom made me throw them all out. Not like David throwing out his disc covers, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Kels, what'd you get this week?
I'm not done. What the
Oh,
fuck?
they said that was the last thing you spent money on.
No, I said that was the most that I spent.
You don't
individual
edit
money
on the most expensive thing?
No,
All right, what else you get?
because I got a lot of some Japanese imports.
And they're cheaper than the $4?
I mean, they're a lot, so technically I spent like $6 for the lot, but
Oh,
individually it's cheaper.
okay, fair.
So these are the non-duplicates that I got. I have no idea what the fuck this is, but why not? Also, no idea what the fuck this is, but why not? Zillow Infinite, which has a fan translation, so I want to play that at some point.
What if the games you got were like the Japanese version of the Guy game, and they were like all recalled, and you're not supposed to have it?
I mean,
You'll never know.
I already have questionable shit in my collection. Let's be honest. I am a purveyor of Japanese goods.
But just
It
to
happens.
be vocally clear, none of it is of underage women without their tops,
Correct.
like the Guy game. So don't correlate saying, yeah, well, I have a lot of stuff that's similar to that. Don't say that.
Fair. I don't have any legitimate unsavory material.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yet.
But real quick, this is just something I want to point out. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know why we get the shittiest fucking covers in America. I'm selling this because it's a duplicate in my collection. But the Japanese cover art for Dirge of Cerberus fucking goes hard.
That does go hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. The cover art for all the Final Fantasies in Japan are just so much better than what we get in the US. I fucking hate it.
I think everything. I mean, we're talking like even 64 or not 64, but Nintendo games when they would start re-releasing them, they use Japanese art specifically because of that. So
Yeah.
like Mario RPG, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, stuff like that, all just looks better. What's up,
One of the
Pepperoni?
few times it doesn't is like Crash Bandicoot looks terrible for the Japanese cover art for that series.
I think Japanese made games look better in Japanese covers.
Fair. But that is all that I got.
All right, Kels.
Yeah, so it's comic book haul.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Right. We have Geiger, number 5 here with a little puppy. We got Redcoat, number 5. So it's really interesting. We're kind of getting to that point in these Ghost Machine novels where the story is kind of like taking a turn for like you're kind of hitting those major story arcs a little bit. It's kind of interesting to see those pop up a little bit more, and especially since all of those are supposed to be loosely interconnected. They're all part of like a singular timeline. So it's interesting whenever you see a name or something else pop up that you see somewhere else as well. We have the Ultimates number 3, again reaffirming what I'm thinking is going to happen with the MCU. Moon Knight number 8 is the last one before we go into the next run, which is the Fist of Khonshu Moon Knight run, because they're so Mark Spector died, and then in Blood Hunt he was resurrected at, I don't know, they kind of implied that he might be a vampire, but I think it's TBD there.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to categorize it. If he's like fully human and back, or if he's like undead, or like I don't know how they're trying to phrase that. But anyways, Ultimate Spider-Man number 8. We have Iron Lad on the cover with him, getting some more Tony Howard and a little bit more Cap story there, which is super interesting, especially in the Ultimate Universe. We have X-Men. Beautiful cover art again. I love how they're doing like the full art and not just like the little boxed frames, because that's fucking stupid. And a good example of it, we have X-Men, and then we have Ultimate X-Men. Fuck the box frame. We love the full art. Don't be a box frame nerd. Just do the fucking full art. And after that, we have some trades. So Avengers Twilight trade paperback just came out for it. Beautiful Alex Ross art on the cover. He does covers for all the issues for it, which is kind of funny because this is kind of like Marvel's take on Kingdom Come.
Okay.
And so it's really interesting that Alex Ross did the art there, and now he's doing the art for what many are considering is the equivalent for Marvel. Vengeance of the Moon Knight trade came out for the first 4, I think it is. So there should be another trade for the last 4. Yeah, loving that. Almost glows, but it's not foiled or anything. But yeah, so we got trades, comics, and that's it.
Real quick, we talked about Peach Momoko. You ever seen their drawing of Enchantress?
I might have. I follow her on Twitter and see like all of the shit that she posts.
There you go, and it's not a meme.
Oh, I love it. So cute.
I like her. I don't understand quite what's happening, but it's funny.
She's like a little nymph, like a little flower nymph.
I don't know about how I feel about the face.
Adorable. I'll take it.
Fair.
I don't care what's in it. Give me 14 of them right now.
Fair. All right. I got 2 things. One David's gonna love. The other one David's probably be upset about because I supported the company he hates. I did get a copy of Pentiment.
Oh fuck! I should have got that.
Those were like ages ago though. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, David, you ready to see something that you're gonna think is dope?
Hell yeah.
I have a vinyl of What Remains of Edith Finch.
Nice.
Fucking
Great
peak.
art. I love that art right there. Good stuff. So adding that to the collection there. Everybody says clean the tub. There's no better way to pass the time listening to y'all. Artwork looks familiar. They did that art for X23. I think they've done that too. I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Peach does a lot of just random artwork for him. And so I found out something really interesting. They don't get paid for the art that's used in Marvel Snap.
Nope.
None of it. I seen a Twitter thread of one of the artists talking about it.
Yep.
That's fascinating.
Because whenever they sell their art, they just sell their art. So
Yep,
I mean,
all Marvel. They pull it out of their library of art, their batch art that they probably have somewhere. I was under the impression that they contracted the artist to make the art for the game.
I want to say that now, like for Dan Hip has like a fucking variant in every fucking card, which is exhausting to see constantly because I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of Dan Hip. He's all right.
Yeah.
But they flooded Marvel Snap with so many. I can imagine they've just commissioned him to be like make just different ones of everything else we have. But yeah, no, everything else it's all just stuff that they've had. But hey, it's free exposure.
Right.
I do wish they would like link to their shop or something like on there, just like, hey, if you like the artist, they do give the full name credit and all that, but like, hey, link to their shop or something. I'm sure they've gotten some notoriety from Marvel Snap though. That's it. David, what'd you play?
So I've really only played 2 things here. One, I started up Nier Automata because playing that with the partner, she decided that she was gonna best be able to get through the game if I was playing it and just watching. We got to Pascal's Village, and she's like, yeah, no, there's absolutely no way I would have played through this game, especially with the first boss fight in the desert and everything. And then I showed her around Pascal's Village. I'm like, all right, so I've shown you a couple of the joke endings in this game already, but there's one ending, and I walked her through the village. So you see how long it takes you to get through this area, right? She's like, yeah, my first time here, I fucking massacred everyone. I just went ahead, and now I'm single. But no, and I explained, like, it takes like a good 7 minutes to walk through this place, killing everyone the whole time. Them just kind of begging and going, but why?
Because it's not
And,
it's not like how it is in normal combat where you can swing through and get like a 3-hit combo and kill them. It's every hit they
Yep.
scream out in agony, and then you could hit them again after that. Which is
Yeah. So she looked at me
atrocious.
like I was an absolute monster because she's already been struggling with the game. She's like, no, the machines have done nothing wrong. I don't care what they say. They are
just wait.
absolutely innocent.
Yeah,
And that's
just
kind of what they
wait.
kept saying. I'm like, just wait.
I you know what's gonna get them is the opening to Route B.
Mm.
Opening to Route B is such a oh man, I've always felt so bad. I'm excited to do that concert. It's gonna be good stuff.
It's gonna be so good. Aside from that, I started fucking around a little bit with retro achievements.
Okay.
I decided to kind of fuck with that. Usually when I play games, I try to just always play things on original hardware because it's just my preference. But I was kind of curious how well that worked. I had the itch to play fucking peak Pokemon again. So I booted up the GameCube emulator and I played myself some Pokemon Coliseum.
That was not the
couple
one
hours
I was imagining when you just said peak, but all right.
No, Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness. Kells, you're muted.
Which one were you thinking? Because I was that was the same thing that I thought.
I was thinking, well, the correct answer is like Heart Gold or Soul Silver. That's just the correct answer. But like, I could see like you saying Platinum or something like that.
Mm.
Or were you going?
Heart
with
Gold,
that?
Soul Silver are solid, but
Kels, where were
I
you?
was going Crystal.
Crystal, fair. Like it's
Crystal's
OG
peak for me.
Crystal.
Yep.
Nice. I think you
Gotcha.
played Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Yeah, I played Soul Silver.
Nice. Those ones, I think those ones are pristine.
no, Gen 3 is my favorite Pokemon gen.
Too much water.
But also, yeah, too much water. But unabashedly, the Coliseum games on GameCube are the best, most enjoyable experience as a more adult Pokemon fan. Everything is double battles, and the AI is actually smart AI. And as you progress through the game, all the AI gets like competitive level competent teams, and they know how to exploit the competitive strategies for double battles. So it's genuinely rewarding because the game will fucking kick your ass. And it's like, ooh, I gotta like actually stop and think and like actually engage with a competitive Pokemon mindset in it. Really fucking fun. I highly enjoy it. And I've earned 9 Achievos for the GameCube so far. So kind of having fun with it. It's something that I don't see it being an option that I use often, but honestly, sometimes it is nice to not like drag all my consoles into a different room because I predominantly use them in here, but I always want to sit on my computer chair and fucking play something in here.
Sure.
So sometimes it is nice to just sit in bed, pull out the laptop, and just fucking play something on the laptop. But yeah, no, so really having a lot of fun going back to that. And that's what I've been playing.
And Pepperoni asked, what gen is Black and White? I like that one just from remembering sort of the story in that one. I think that's Gen 5.
That is Gen 5. Yeah.
Five.
And that is, I will say, arguably the best gen. It's not my favorite gen, but I will say it's the best gen.
Did you like because they were trying to soft reboot it?
I like that it's a soft reboot and it builds on a lot of what Gen 4 did. Gen 4 introduced one of the most important aspects of Pokemon, which was the special physical split. So instead of physical and special being tied to the element of the Pokemon, it actually makes it so that way moves can be special or physical in addition to their element. Black and White kind of really expanded upon that and introduced a lot of different mechanics to kind of enhance that special physical split, as well as it added a lot more abilities into the game. It added a lot of really interesting hidden abilities for Pokemon.
A lot of natures too.
Yeah, a lot of different natures. It really just was like, okay, we now have an understanding of what we want our formula to be. This is us from the ground up, basically treating it like, okay, what if we made Pokemon today? What if this was our first Pokemon game? and it's just handled with that mindset of, okay, we got the groundwork, let's fucking perfect it. And it's just, honestly, especially considering how gimmick heavy Pokemon gets after Gen 5, with Gen 6 having the Megas, same with Gen 7, and then having the or Z moves as the Gen 7 mechanic, and Gen 8 having the Gigantamax, and now with Gen 9 being Terrestrialization.
The cute little hats.
Yeah, cute hats.
And it's the first one to have a direct sequel.
Yes, It is the first one to have a direct sequel. It's one of those things that,
well, technically, isn't Silver and Gold a sequel to Red and Blue?
Yeah, that works.
Yes, but it's not.
But
It's
not in the sense that it's 1 and 2. It's the sense is like
it's set after it, but it's
Right.
not necessarily a sequel to it. If that makes sense.
Right.
Because they're in different regions, although you do go back to Kanto later.
I just say it because there's that final matchup with you from the first game. It's
that's fair.
Wouldn't it have been, you know what would be funny? Instead of saying the ... it should have been like, it's you, but like had all you in all caps.
But no, Gen 5 is unironic. To get someone new into Pokemon, I would set them in front of a Gen 5 game first. And be like, okay, this is everything you need to know to understand the basics of Pokemon.
It's the one of the gens that a lot of the people that are huge into like the competitive scene really remember fondly because of what David said, and because that made breeding that much more fun. Because it was not only fun, but it had like that randomization that made it just fun enough. Because you could narrow it down to points to where like there were big numbers at first, but it had a lot of choke points to where like if you got a foreign Ditto, that big number went down to like little bitty number, shit like that would happen. And it's just one that a lot of people that were heavy into that remember fondly because it was a fuck ton of fun. I wasn't a big fan of the story, but the mechanics, the gym leaders, all of those were plenty memorable enough to make it one of, not my favorite, but it's up there.
Hey, while we're moving on, David, can you send me your list?
This time.
All right, Kels, what you been playing?
So, as I said earlier, I kind of had a spoiler, kind of didn't. I've been playing Deadlock. I got an invite to that and been trying that out. So far, so good. It's like, I'm not a big MOBA guy, never have been, but I am a shooter guy. I like hero shooters. Those are fun too. And MOBAs are fun whenever people are like interacting and talking, and I feel like Deadlock has that right now. It's early enough, no one's toxic, so everyone's like generally having fun and still figuring it out. Right.
Heavy.
I can only imagine like a year in, or even a few months in, or after official release, it probably will be, but who fucking knows?
Right.
But so far, so good.
Nice. What was the process to get into that beta again?
Like if you want, I can just send you the invite for it.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, because I might want to hop it on that.
Yeah, it's invite only, so you guys have to know someone that's in there, so I can get you hooked up.
Dope.
But yeah, it's a mix of MOBA and it's a third-person hero shooter. So yeah,
a lot of hero shooters this year. There were
a lot of hero shooters this year, but I think Valve kind of has the one up on them. Just do like even like. Okay, so a lot of this game does look not rough, but like not quite finished because there's like textures missing, or a lot of the hero models are even like smooth. They're like almost clay-like. It's a beta. It's not even a beta. I feel like it's between an alpha and a beta because it's smooth in how it plays. It has the mechanics there. That's all there, but like the facelift isn't there.
Right.
But it's really interesting to kind of see it at this stage and see how well and how good it's playing so far.
Nice. Yeah, I trust Valve to make something polished, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what it shows, even right now, with it not being completely there. It's really interesting, too, because they've left the dev consoles, like, available to players, so people have got in and found, like, heroes that haven't been released yet.
Uh-huh.
And so there's, like, 4 or 5 different builds in the game that people can access and kind of fuck around with. Like, they don't have full animations or full models and stuff like that, but there's still stuff there to, like, look at and abilities to use and stuff, so it's really interesting to see I don't know if it's like Valve being open or them just like forgetting, but compared to something like Overwatch, where like you would never see anything like that.
Right.
And Valve has like a shit ton of heroes out already for it. I think there's like 15 heroes or something like that.
If her ass, that's intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is that intentional? Who knows? But I mean, it's cool for us, the players.
Hell yeah. All right. This is gonna be funny. All right. All right. Anything else?
No, that's a big one. I kind of spent my weekend getting that in, and other than that, I didn't show it off. But I got a binder for my cards, so this is one full.
I thought that
playset.
was a PS5 cover.
Here's my PS5.
It looks like
It
that, like
kinda
right
does,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
No, I wish. I've been wanting to get a different color. These white ones, they seem
If
so
if you
dusty.
do, let me know because I want to do this with Neo, but Neo already talked to someone about it. But I want to do like two different covers, right? So like
Ooh,
if you
yeah.
order like blue, I would order pink, and we just swap one of the covers with each other
Hell
and just
yeah.
make it like a two-tone.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, so other than gaming, just fucking so this is a full playset, and I sleeved them all in perfect fits and did it all. So that's like 700 cards. It took like a few hours. So
Nice.
that's what I spent all weekend doing. 3-day weekend, baby.
What did I do?
You DSP'd it.
Yeah, I DSP'd.
You went into a DSP hole.
Yeah. I did I don't know what other movies or anything I watched. I've
Dude,
just
those
been on.
Costco guys were right. I give this cookie like 5 booms out of 5.
So I
It's so good.
I sir I had the girlfriend. She was on her way. She's like, "What do you want? Anything?" I was like, "I can go for like a fucking chicken bake right now." She's like, "All right," and then goes, and then they're sold out when she gets there because it was almost closing time. I'm like, damn, all right, I'll take a slice of pizza. It's fine. She's all right, cool. And as she's leaving, I loaded up. I just typed in Costco guys, and the first thing was like they got one of them. I guess they sell frozen chicken bakes.
What?
Yeah, and I'm
What?
like, yeah, they had what's his name on there just saying frozen chicken bakes. I'm like, what the fuck? So but she already left. I'm like, god damn it, next time.
Man, that would have made. Fuck, I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but my boss and I went down this weird rabbit hole of watching.
DSP.
No, this YouTuber who does like these stupid food challenges where he only eats like one item off a menu at a place for like a couple weeks.
There's a handful of
Yeah.
those YouTubers, and
And
I get into it. I
one of the
binge
ones he
watch
did
them.
was the chicken bake.
I like watch my favorite things, David, is to watch those kind of YouTubers where they do the I eat whatever the car in front of me orders. And it's always so funny because what happens, it's always like a full ass car. And the guy's like, all right, cool, we're gonna get a good order here. And they roll up there and like they're like, hey, can I have what they're having? And they're like, okay. And then you roll, he's like, don't tell me what it is. All right. Rolls up there, gives the card, and you just get handed back like a small coffee. Like, bro brought the whole squad to go to McDonald's to buy a fucking small coffee. It's so funny.
That's wild.
It's so funny. But yeah, there's a lot of those kind of challenges. I do get in that. Have you ever heard Beard Meets Food?
No.
My American's gonna show, but I think he's Scottish. It's one of those funny accents. He goes and does all those those food challenges across the world where it's like finish this plate in 40 minutes or whatever. He goes around and doing all that, and it's really really good.
We have a local place that has one I've been wanting to do. It's a giant chicken fried steak. It's
Okay.
like a chicken fried steak. I think there's like 2 scoops mashed potatoes, gravy. There's green beans, 2 cinnamon rolls, and like a side salad. You have to eat it all. And I think you get an hour to do it, but it's huge.
Okay.
I've been wanting to hurt myself and do it.
Fuddruckers had a 3-pound burger and 1-pound fry deal or thing, and I got about 75% of the way to the burger, and I was like dead. I was like, all right, this is gonna be like lunch tomorrow. I get home and I just warm it up and finish it there.
Why couldn't I have done this at the
Yeah,
restaurant?
I totally could have done that.
See, and after watching those videos, you learn that it's like a there's an order to it. Like you have to layer it in your stomach, and then after watching, it's like holy shit! I didn't realize there's like a science to how
Mhm.
you consume food
And
efficiently.
people always has a misconception where it's like, uh, oh, I didn't eat in 3 days. I can eat a lot. It's like, no, your stomach shrank, so you're not gonna be able to
Yeah.
eat that much.
Oh yeah, speaking of, did y'all watch the Kobayashi versus Joey Chestnut yesterday?
No, that happened.
Yeah, so that was they had their showdown.
Ooh, I gotta watch that. All
I
right.
don't know what the
For
fuck you're
on
talking
first.
about.
You know who they are?
No.
Hot dog eaters.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut is the reigning uh, American hot dog. Nathan's champion, and then Takeru Kobayashi. He was like a champion back in the like early 2000s, but he got in like a big fuss with Nathan's, split from them, went and did his own thing, other eating competitions. But Joey's been like the perennial, like or like the annual winner. He's only lost like a few times in like the past 10 years or some shit like that.
The old guard
But
versus the reigning champ.
yeah, and well, pretty much because Joey like he signed a deal with like some hot dog company or something, and Nathan's like banned him from the
Yeah,
competition.
yeah,
And so he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna go do this thing on Netflix with Kobayashi, and
Hell
because
yeah.
they never faced off, so it was like their big showdown.
April
And I
ask
think
who won. Don't tell me. I will watch that.
okay, I was about to spoil it.
Ooh, cut that off there. Yeah, I want to watch that. That sounds like
It
good.
is insane.
Sounds like a good time there.
And so like I'm not gonna say who won, but even the loser eats more than the this year's Nathan's champ.
Hell yeah, well, it better have been. This is the showdown.
Exactly. So like no matter who won, they were both
No
better
matter
than
who won, we all lost.
Yeah, that Nathan's champ is a Mickey Mouse trophy this year, boy. You get Joey Chestnut back there, he's gonna fucking kill
I
it.
do remember that everyone's talking about the hot dog eating champ this year, and everyone's like, "What the bro? That was nothing."
Yeah, Mickey Mouse trophy, dude. It don't make this is like
That
a
shit I could buy
like
at lunch
participation.
tomorrow.
Right. Get out of here.
It's funny you say that. I have like 80 hot dogs in my fridge right now for a fundraiser that we tried to do on Friday, but it rained out, so I'm trying to figure out how to fundraise and get rid of all this stuff.
You can start prepping for next Nathan's contest, dude.
Yeah,
You'll be
right.
up
At
on
this
the
point,
stage.
we're gonna. I think the unfortunately the hot dog buns are probably a loss because we were trying to sell them next weekend. I'm like, yeah, they're definitely not gonna last there.
Problem is, y'all have the wrong hot dogs and wrong hot dog buns.
I'm not spending like a lot of money for hot dogs I'm selling. Fuck, it's counterproductive to my profit margin.
Nah,
gotta
it's
hit one of
all,
those
it's all
chef
about the
stores.
main red snappas.
I believe it. I'm not buying those. How much are those?
I mean, here they're not that much different than brown hot dogs in price.
I feel like anything like that's gonna be more pricey.
I
What
mean,
food
you'd have
do
to
you think
import
you
it,
guys
so it
would
would
be
be
able to-
pricey.
Yeah, A Pepperoni said, "What food do you guys think you'd be able to do a eating competition?" I've always wanted to do one of those pie eating competitions. Set an apple pie in front of me, I'll fuck that thing up, dude.
That's an excellent question.
I feel like I
See,
feel like
part of me wants to say like a drink because I know I can chug, but have you seen that one dude? I forget his name. Fuck, he's like a prolific food eater, but he specializes in chugging. Like he does the lemonade chug for the 4th of July thing, and he like pounds that shit so fucking quick. It's like a big gallon lemonade that they do.
so. Two things popped in my mind when you said that was that Hold Your Wheat for a Wheat challenge way back in 2006. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, or someone died.
Yeah, the mom died trying to doing the water drinking contest, and because she didn't pee, and she's like, I don't need to pee, and then just died. Yeah. No. I remember when I was in 6th grade. This is my last weekend hanging out in California with my friends before I moved. So we're hanging out there, and my friend's bringing us some food. Cool. He put some Gatorade down. And I was thirsty, so I just opened that, and I just chugged that shit. And I was like, all right. And he came back out. He's like, oh, you got you're done? I was like, yeah. You have another one? He's like, yeah. He came back, put another Gatorade down. I chugged that too. And he's like, oh. And then he went to get another one, and I tried drinking that, but like I literally physically couldn't swallow anymore, and it freaked me out.
Yeah, this his name is Badlands Booker. He chugs a gallon of lemonade in 21 seconds.
It's a lot of sugar.
You know, I think for me it'd be wings.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you do the cool thing where like you know how to twist it to slice so you like they clean off the bone, or do you?
No, I unfortunately can't do that.
He's
I
a
get
drumstick
stuck
guy.
every time I try to do that.
No, you just twist the bone in a certain way, and it pops right off, and everything is comes right off there.
Yeah, I never get that right.
Mm. Uh, Pepperoni asked if you get water poisoning from that too. You won't get water poisoning if you pee. Just pee. You don't.
Or if you have salt, because that's the thing that was happening is they weren't getting enough sodium to balance out all the water intake. If they had actually been taking like salt packets along the way, they would have been fine.
Or just run, sweat it out. Just run. You do that thing where you can hear the water in your stomach too.
That's the worst when you can just feel that shit moving around.
Yeah. I want to say pizza, but the crust would be an issue after so long.
Yeah, because that was my thought process. Like, what would I not get sick of just pounding back? Because at a certain point, even if you could like eat any food, like the texture and the flavor, you're gonna get bored of it partway.
So that's
through
what happened
eating.
with
So
that
like,
3-pound burger, and that's why, because it was just so dry, and it was like, well,
See, that's why I'm thinking pie, dude. I can pound pie, bro. And it's not a whole lot of chewing there. It's kind of mushy at a point, and just slides right down your gullet.
I can
Let's
eat
go.
so much pizza. If you're just getting a straight pepperoni pizza, and just like make it
Yeah.
like a foldable style, like I can just eat all that all day. But I'm thinking like something that I would just like that, like, you ever had that food that you're like, man, I just wish it just never ended. And you get disappointed every time like you're getting to the last few bites. You're like, oh, this shit sucks. I want to keep eating.
Scrambled eggs, dude.
I can't do eggs.
Oh,
Eggs. The smell of eggs almost makes me gag, which is it's so bizarre. No, like carne asada fries, dude. Like a loaded up
Valid.
one where I'm like not just
Yeah.
hitting just plain ass fries. Give me it like loaded up constantly. It's like, yeah, I could probably just give me all day and I'll eat whatever. Like that's fine.
I mean, you did that when you came to Maine. You basically ate nothing but poutine.
I had poutine 3 meals of the day. It was I rolled up there. We got it at the
That food fest that was in
Yeah.
Portland.
then you guys made some, and then we went to a diner that morning and I found some more there. That was like
Yeah.
So-
totally unintentional too. It's like, all right, that's how it worked out.
So here, I think it's next month in October, they're having the Asian night market in our Asian district, and they're having a samosa eating contest. I was tempted to enter that.
Ooh.
See if I can get in on that. Dude, potato samosas, I can pound those for damn sure. Or the little gulabs, the little dessert, like donut things that they have. Oh, those I know I could just pound.
David,
But I think potato samosas we get to that dry point like you were talking about.
yeah. David, how many shots do you get through in a row without dying?
Sheesh.
Depending what it is, I could probably start tank 10 easy. Then after that, it would depend what it is.
10 easy? All right. Interesting. Everybody said, what about a spicy food eating competition?
Oh, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I could do that pretty easy because I'm not a
Pussy.
yeah, exactly. I'm not a pussy about it. I'm just like fuck it. I'm putting that shit down.
Right. Ugh.
The only time I feel like I'd be like is if it's like if like here's a plate of bugs, now eat it. I'm like yeah,
Yeah,
you can go
I-
fuck yourself, buddy.
I'm a very picky eater,
Regular
so fuck
foods.
that. I went to
The spicy,
Denny's.
sour.
I went to
Yeah.
Denny's Sunday morning, and they
Got
had
the
a Beetlejuice themed like menu,
Oh,
and they had this burger on there, and I was like, yeah, I can go for a burger right now, and it had like 3 patties, three bacon slices or whatever, and a pretty tall burger. I'm like, all right, I get it. I look at it, and I'm like, this looks fucking bigger than I think. I took one bite, and I looked at it, I'm like, am I going crazy? I looked at the part, I'm like, is this 4 patties? They gave me an extra one. This is fucking
Hell yeah.
monster ass burger. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I felt dirty about it. I was like, this is not like, I literally was not edible. I could not like actively get a bite. So I had like,
I did not order this. Take it back.
yeah, take away this patty. I had a fork and knife that thing. Anyway,
We have a local place that specializes. They sell big burgers and they cut it like a pizza,
interesting.
like into triangles, and you're supposed to eat it with like a party.
There's a place.
Fascinating.
There's a place here that I'm gonna go to soon that does pizza flights.
Pizza flights.
Yeah, and I fuck with that
Yeah, my
idea.
interest. Yeah.
All right.
I'm listening.
Yeah, just everyone's been taking pictures of it, and it gets me so upset. I'm like, I want to go do this. Pizza Flight sounds fucking incredible. That's not
I feel
lore
like that's
accurate
just how
to
they
Beetlejuice.
serve flatbread.
What was that?
I feel like that's just how they serve flatbread.
Right. All right. Was I talking about what I played? I forget. I didn't play
No,
anything
you
else.
haven't.
I don't think I played anything specifically. Nope. All right. Let's jump to news really quick because there's just like I think there's like one primary story I really want to talk about that's breaking as of today. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
Let me double check.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
talk
think
about-
there was much.
Let's talk about the big one. Rest in peace, Concord.
Survived what, a week?
When did it come out? Let's see. Let's see. It came out about a week and a half ago. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think it's been 11 days, is what they said. It hasn't even been a full 2 weeks.
Yeah, because August 23rd. That's abysmal.
Insanity.
Shout outs.
I don't.
Also, okay.
That's
Well-
gonna cost them a lot of fucking money.
Well, see, the thing is like supposedly the game's been in development for 8 years. Like, this game was being made back when Overwatch was like winning Game of the Year awards. Overwatch 1. That's
Oh
what's
wait.
insane to me.
Hold up. I didn't realize. Remember that thing that you guys were talking about that video game anthology, The Secret Level?
Yeah,
This
that's
is gonna
another-
be on there.
Yeah. It was one of the games that had, if I remember, its own standalone episode.
Yeah, it has its own full episode. So what the fuck's that supposed to be about? See, that's the fucked up thing because like they had a whole plan thing. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna do like a lore drop every week." So what the fuck happens then? Like, do they have all that like in the pipeline that they had done? Like, or how much did they have done?
Well,
All the
that's
secret level thing.
that's the frustrating thing is like the only thing that really stood out about this game was the fact that they were committing to a story. But when you're just fucking drip feeding it like that, what the fuck's the point?
I
Never
also
worked.
feel like you have to make your story. You have to prove that the story is like worthy if you're gonna make me sign on for this for a while, right? Like Overwatch never like advertised the story, but it just happened to have really good lore the more you dug into it. And like everyone started signing on to that after that. Just saying, hey, there's gonna be this cool story and you're gonna get a lot of it, or you're gonna get a little bit per week. None of that sounds appealing to me.
Yeah, when you space it out like that, no. Like if this had actually launched with like an actual story mode, fine, perfect. That would have immediately stole the market from what a lot of people were hoping for Overwatch too.
Well, see, the thing for me too is I fucking played Spartan Ops. I know what the fuck that looks like. I've seen Bungie do this or 343 do this. So this isn't like a new idea that studios like haven't tried before. This is something that they tried and they don't do it anymore because it didn't fucking work. It's not feasible to do that much, especially if you're trying to do it weekly. That's insanity.
I really didn't like Spartan Ops. Like I think the gameplay was so horribly mid. I would just watch the cutscenes online.
Yeah, it was one of those things like the cutscenes and the armor drops that you got from it were what I was looking forward to, and everything in between was like, yeah, that was a blur. I don't even
like-
know why I did.
It had like really big story ramifications to it too, which is like, man, you really locked out a bunch of big stuff just to this thing that no one gave a shit about.
Right.
It's an interesting concept, says everybody, but it'd be cool if it was lore missions or something like that. Yeah, I also think
I'm giving them
I-
too much credit, man.
the rollout was just not there.
Yeah.
What do we think happens to this at this point, though? Where are we gonna go with this?
I think they've spent too much money on this. I think that it goes away for like 6 months, and we see it relaunch as a free-to-play
Multiverses.
game.
Kinda
Yeah,
like-
basically like a multiverses. Add in battle passes, add in all the other shit. But that's the only way that they could potentially recoup costs from that.
I hope so because that's the funniest outcome. But on the other hand, I hope they don't because those poor people working on it. Because if this game does relaunch and come back, it's gonna be like memed on. It's not gonna be like people that are playing it earnestly because they like the game.
Like a
and the
Morbius
game's
thing?
engaging for 'em. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a Morbius thing. It's gonna be.
I mean, right now
there-
people are playing the game just to die so they can try to grind trophies.
Right. Exactly.
Oh
It's,
yeah, that's a
it's
good
gonna-
idea, huh?
Yeah, because I think there was like one guy that had the platinum for it or some shit, and the platinum's called like Living Legend. So,
Yeah.
That's kind of sick.
How little did they realize?
Yeah.
When's it shut down?
September 6th.
Better
So
get
next
grinding,
week.
boyo.
Fuck. And that's not even next week. That's
They
this
said
week.
they'd refund you too.
Oh, huh.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could buy it and just get a free refund.
I wonder if
Yeah.
it works like that.
I imagine
Like,
it's probably
hey,
got taken off the store now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point because they said that they'd take it down for being sold.
That
You
means
can
if
go out
I-
and buy a physical copy. Go
Yeah.
track one down.
I'm contemplating that because that'd be kind of. But you know what? If this happened before the 3-day weekend, I probably would have done it. Just out of
Right.
pure, just I want to just.
I
do
mean, it
instead,
should
do
have been expected because before the 3-day weekend, they officially hit a point where they had more developers at the company than they had people playing the
And
game.
just have them play. They could double their user base.
I just typed in SteamDB on Google, and the first result was SteamDB Concord.
Hell yeah!
Everyone's looking at this shit. Oh,
You know what the
there's
saddest part is? This is probably the most concurrent peak players in the game's history.
How many people are playing?
46 players right now on Steam.
Close.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's gonna ever hit that peak of 697.
Right?
That's
No,
crazy.
it will never.
Wait, so I'm gonna go check Steam right now.
All right, while you're doing that, real quick, one other bit of news that I want to cover. Valve gobbled up the Risk of Rain developers.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Was it Hooplu or Hooplo?
Yeah, so they, I think there's like 9 folks that were at that studio. They immediately canceled whatever game they were already working on and have been refocused onto other projects Valve has in development.
PTSD at Campo Santo.
What?
That's the people that made Firewatch. All this
Oh.
potential. They had that sick trailer for In the Valley of the Gods at the Game Awards, and they got screwed up by Valve. They were like, "It's okay. This game is still gonna happen, and disappeared forever." Because they're just like, and I think that I've did a little bit just internet sleuthing and just seeing like what the developers of it were on or something like that, and they'd come out and say, yeah, like we're still friends. Like some of us like we sit together and stuff like that, but it's just a matter of like the whole studio just kind of just we're siphoned off to other things, and like some people were like, yeah, we're working on Half-Life Alyx. Some people were like, or we're helping out on here, and they just kind of get separated like that. But super bummer because Firewatch, as I mentioned, is upon playthrough again. I think. Oops, I'm looking really quick. Is Concord gone? I think it is off Steam. I think so. Firewatch on second playthrough, I actually really liked it. I know I didn't really like it before. I can't really even specifically say why. It just didn't really resonate with me. I think that's not the type of game I was into. But upon this one, I would love for you to play that, David. I don't know. I'm curious. I guess I shouldn't say no. I don't want to like bias you ahead of time, but I don't know if it'll hit you in the same way or resonate with you in the same way. I should say is Edith Finch, but like when people put like their rated walking sims on there, it's like universally 1 or 2 is Edith Finch and the other one's Firewatch. Like plenty of people will put like Edith Finch at number 2 and Firewatch number 1, or they vice versa it. But it's got a very strong representation in that sort of realm of genre. So I'd be curious. I do want us to play it for Games Gone By eventually. I think I would love to hear your thoughts on it and see. I think you'll like it. I'd be shocked if you didn't.
Okay.
But I guess I don't want to bias you at a time. I'm just kind of curious. One day I would like for us to play that.
One day we will relaunch Games Gone By for the third time.
Yeah, and we'll have a format with it though, like, and it's not gonna be a live stream one. It'll be one like, well, we're gonna whenever it gets relaunched. Here's how it's gonna go. When it gets relaunched, it's like we're gonna have a stockpile episode, so we could say like it goes live every day this week, and we'll have like 15 episodes on lock. So that's like, all right, you can't buck this trend. We're good. With that said, oh yeah, with the whole that's what happened at Campo Santo though. It's upsetting. So I'm getting a little PTSD from this Risk of Rain thing. I'm like, good for them. Like, get bought up for sure. Go have fun, do that. But
get the guaranteed money.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially with Valve, you know, you're getting fucking paid at Valve.
Yeah.
Just definitely a bummer in terms of like wanting a project out there, because I know that I actually don't know if the Valve old. Remember how there was always that old idea that Valve was like, you can do work on whatever the fuck you want, do whatever you want. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I think that's like last I've read it was like that's been gone for a little while now, but there's still a lot of freedom there, but not to that extent.
Yeah, there's freedom, but it's kind of one of those things where they've had so many flops at this point where they need to start focusing on actually doing like a consistent banger again. You figure their TCG failed pretty much on arrival.
I think that's what they're trying to do with Deadlock now, because I don't think you were
Yeah.
here for it, but I was mentioning playing that, and that's their big MOBA that they've apparently been putting a lot of time and work into.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting because here recently I found out I was watching something, like, I guess they like gear shifted on this game like a good portion of the way through. Like it was like completely themed differently, like it was a cyberpunk like stylized game, and now it's like a not steampunk quite, but it's like steam mage punk kind of stylized. So
Okay.
it's kind of interesting to see where it's come from now.
Any other?
Yeah, no, that one I'm definitely intrigued.
Any other big news we got going on here?
Rocksteady laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah, that happened.
Also, the director of Dragon's Dogma, McCray, left Capcom.
Yeah, but he's not retiring. He said he said stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Which is sad because I really wanted to see where that man was going to cook for Devil May Cry 6 because
Yeah.
I was very interested after 5.
I think David has it, and I really want him to play this other game. But Kaz, have you played Hypnospace Outlaw? Ooh. This is also one I think us at this age. Check this out really quick. I'm gonna link it. I've mentioned this before. Unfortunate week in terms of news. Yeah, but that's why we're here to bring up the conversation thing. Perfect week for that. Hypnospace Outlaw. I've explained this to Dave before, but I'll re-spiel it. Is a game built off like those old websites you remember way back in the day. It's almost like a mystery, like dystopian future. You got to kind of piece together what's going on through like hyperlinks and figuring out like puzzles inside the text and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I like
that.
these types of games. Have you ever played like Don't Feed the Monkeys or anything like that?
No.
It's kind of like a not quite similar, but it's kind of like a surrealistic type of game in that sense.
What's that on?
I'm pretty sure it's on Steam.
Oh, Do Not Feed Monkeys, $20.99.
I think that's a sequel, but yeah, I think it's the same premise.
Okay. Oh, is this it? Let's see. I'll just put that in here and I'll look at it later. Hypnospace Outlaw though is fantastic. I that will also eventually be a Games Gone By because I can promise that Dave would love it just for the novelty of it all. Let's do this list thing because
cool.
I am excited to talk about how botched our lists are.
Hell yeah. So I have no doubt we all went into it with different ideas of how to do it.
Yes,
Probably.
So my plan originally was, what's the list? I'm gonna put a list or I'll have some up here in a little bit. But the reason why I'm kind of talking here and I'm gonna list off a bunch. But so last week we mentioned, we listened to this list of like essential video games, right? Like what would you But would you like someone that's like into gaming, right? Like not someone brand new, but someone's into gaming, like enthusiast. What should they play? Is that kind of where we're at, right?
Okay,
Or are we talking about like intro? Because again, it was a little shaky on how we did it, but
I did a little bit of both.
Okay, fantastic.
I forgot, and I did games I personally liked, but I
mean,
think there's crossover.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all games I personally like, but they're also the way I tried to do it is kind of have them be the standouts of their genres or their gameplay types.
So and originally I was gonna be like, all right, well, surely we have some crossovers between us, so we can lump those on together. There is no mutual single game between the three of our lists at all.
Hell yeah.
I might be blanking.
That's wild.
I might be looking over one, but there's like not a single game that we all can mutually agree on. I'm sure that we will.
So you can say this is the official Blue Rupees top 75 games.
So there is crossover between like two, like Kels and David might have one, me and David might have one,
okay.
but there's not one that like all of us have like specifically agreed on.
Oh, okay. So it's not like legitimate.
No, it's not like I can post all three of these games. No. That'd be incredible if we happen to have not a single game between like all of us in that fashion. But no, I have this, and so we gotta play this game of like, I'm gonna parse through this list a little bit. And you guys can kind of talk about your thoughts of it. I'm gonna parse through to find any mutuals, even just between two people, so we can stand those out a little bit and start from there. But really, this is gonna be a big deep dive into killing a lot of our list.
Let's go.
All right, so you guys go ahead and talk about that. I'm gonna fix up this list a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, so to break it down a little bit more of like my criteria, a lot of the picks I had they're there because they like struck a chord for me in one way or another. Whether it be like a gameplay moment that happened, story beat, or like something that just hit me emotionally. If the game stopped and made me go, "Wow, that's cool," or "Wow, that was a fucking game," then it's probably on the list.
All right. And as alluded to, I kind of went into it with like, I've talked about this a lot on the podcast. I'm the kind of person that if you ask me a different day what my favorite X is, you're going to get a different answer.
Yeah.
Just because outside of like a few different subjects, it changes. Like it really depends on my mood, what I'm kind of feeling at that time. It's really hard to have like a single pinned down favorite. So I went into my list with the idea of like, okay, let's say I either wanted to have this be like, okay, you're either familiar with gaming and you're like, okay, what's the best of X genre? Or you're not necessarily familiar with gaming. What would be like the most unique or standout one to get you into it? But it still have it be in that category of like, I'm passionate enough about it that I could ramble on about it for whatever reason.
Right.
And it really sucked doing it this way because I tried so hard not to have too much overlapping of genres. So like I got like turn-based RPG, action RPG, strategy RPG, and it's like that's already kind of overlappy in the sense that I mean they're all RPGs, but they're all mechanically different games.
It's that meme
but
of
it's
the
still
dude like mansplaining to the woman, but it's me explaining what jiggies are.
exactly. But it's
They're
kind of
puzzle pieces, babe.
But that's kind of one of those things where it's like because of that, it's like, oh fuck, there's like 20 games that should be here that are not. But
Yeah.
I wanted that breadth of like, no, let's actually explore gaming. Let's kind of see what exists out there as a medium of game.
Right.
Talk for like another minute, and I think I'm done.
All right. Like I'll actually talk about like one game that's not on my list at all. Is Nier Automata. I really wanted it on my list. It deserves to be in top 25 games. But it's not just because if I'm looking at the genre splittage, there's nowhere for it.
I actually did 26 because I had one extra that I feel like I don't know if I'd put it as my number one game, but it is a game that has a very special place in my heart that I think a lot of people have as like their top game or up there as like a top game, but this one it's just one that I really, really enjoy.
So I have
Okay.
25, and I just had like 5 or 6 honorable mentions of games that like I
Cool.
could swap in or out. But I had 25. I'm gonna just lump those in regardless anyway, and we'll just see if
Fuck yeah.
they stack in or not. So,
Do you want me
and,
to send you a quick list of honorable mentions?
how big is your list?
I mean, I only have the 25 that I sent you. I could probably throw in easily another at least 5 honorable mentions.
If you can do that like in the next like minute, then sure.
Yeah, I can. Here, let me do that real quick. Honorable mentions. Honorable nuts.
Same kind of
Yeah,
deal
even
with
as I sit here and think about it more, I'm thinking of more games.
Like Concord?
Yeah, exactly, dude. RIP, I'm gonna miss that game, man.
So between us, until David shows me these honorable mentions, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 games that we have at least 2 mutuals with.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm curious. So David and I actually agreed on the most together.
All right, I gotta pee again. But I sent my honorable mention.
Yeah, let's see. First, I wouldn't know how to make a list 25 considering I don't feel like I play as many games as you guys, and I've just explored different genres I wouldn't have before.
Yeah, see, that's why a lot of mine came from like every like years past of my life, right? So I have games spanning from literally Super Nintendo all the way until most current like generation of consoles. So it's really it's really tough, especially like as I think more and more. I'm like, oh fuck, I played more games than I can think of.
Since I think David had, let me count David's really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Since David now has 30 flat, do you want to add 4 more?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Let's see.
I can't think of them on the spot.
This
just
man
as I'm
said,
sitting here.
just saying this, I'm thinking of
Completely
more.
forgot.
And then I said, all right, think of them now.
Well, because it's just like they just kind of float through my
Yeah,
head.
that's
Like, oh
fair.
yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
It's like whenever you have to poop, but as soon as you sit down and you try to poop, you can't poop. So you just have to let it loosen up a little bit. Then all of a sudden the poop just comes out.
Well,
No, the worst is when you think you just gotta pee, so you pee, and then you go ahead, you go to wash your hands, like fuck, I gotta shit too, and then you gotta walk back to the toilet.
And then you gotta pee more when you're shitting.
Exactly.
What's up with that?
yeah, God.
Yeah, God, how come after I get done wiping, there's still poop? Come
Why
on,
did
man.
you curse me with ligma?
So, here's what we'll do: is Kels, if you think of those 4, you're welcome to add
Yeah.
4 more.
Cool.
I will be now. I'm gonna share the list in a second, but I will. Let's see. Share. Let's see. Link, copy link. Okay, so before I share this, I'll list off what we had in common and who that was between. Stats off the top. Kels and I have 3 in common. David and I had 5 in common, and David and Kels had 2 in common. Do you guys want to make a little game of it quick and just wonder if you guys can throw out there what game do you guys think
Is this
up?
including the honorable mentions I sent
Yes.
last second? All right, so I have no doubt Nier Automata is one of them.
Yep.
From there, I'm gonna guess Third Strike is in there.
No.
Oh, interesting. What else would we say in Bioshock? No, you wouldn't because you had a shitty time with that. Yep.
I wouldn't knock that against it being on a list there because like.
Oh, duh. Silent Hill 2. Obviously, that's got to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What remains of Edith Finch?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got 2 left here.
Oh, actually, I lied. We have 4 total. Is it? Yeah. No, you and I have 4 total, and Kels and I have 4 total.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I have
You're
one
missing
left.
one
then.
more. Surprised you're not. This one's a bit of a stretch for you. I feel like it's a pretty slam dunk easy one to know.
Grim Fandango?
Oh, actually, I lied. No, David, we have 5 then because I didn't even see that. Yeah, Grim Fandango is another one that we have.
All right, so so we're back to being at
Yeah.
that. All right, so now I'm out.
It's another game's gone by game. If it
Was it our last Games Gone By game of Portal?
no, it was Chrono Trigger.
Oh, Chrono Trigger. Okay, that one I wasn't sure if like that one like really stuck with you. That's why.
So here's the thing. I have games in my list that have never stuck with me or I've not resonated with, but like I would say like, yeah, go play that again. So like we're gonna have it's like our Minecraft thing. That's on my list, but it's like I would tell everyone to try Minecraft. Like at no point would I be like, do not try that game. But it's like it's a very unique style game. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Kels, do you know what games you are actually about this? Now how about this, David? Do you know what games you and Kels?
Oh,
There's
games?
There's 2.
Was there any overlap with the ones I've already said?
No, that's because if it was, then we would have had one altogether.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh shit. So, interesting. So Kels, I don't know quite as much as a gamer currently. But let me guess, Fallout New Vegas, is that one?
It is.
All right. Then from there, did you say BioShock?
I did not.
Damn,
But
okay.
that would be one of my honorable mentions that Adrian was mentioning. So
Did you say Portal?
I did not.
Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah, I tried to stick away from the ones that we talked about.
I'm putting that on your list, Kels. What BioShock?
1, because the Big Daddies genuinely scared me as like being the little guy. They were the big lumbering tanks.
Nice, got you then. So you guys have another one then.
All right. So technically, we have another one there because of that. Yakuza 0.
Yes, that would
All
be
right.
the other one. Yeah.
3. All right. So we got 2
All right.
more technically then.
No, that's it. You guys only had 2.
Oh, we only had 2. Okay.
All right, Kels. We had 3. Actually, no, we had 4.
4. Okay, so did you do Telltale's Walking Dead?
I did.
Okay. Alan Wake 2? Those were the ones like, okay, those would be easy. Okay, Mass Effect 2.
I did not, and that's
okay.
actually surprising to me. I didn't realize that after I read your list. Like, oh, oops.
Red Dead 2.
I lied. We have 5 then.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. I'm in sync with everyone.
Halo Reach.
No.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man, that should have been an honorable mention of mine.
Again, we're gonna modify lists, so there might be games that pop up somehow, some way. It's fine.
There's so many fucking games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, this is hard then. Because the other ones I genuinely probably wouldn't peg you for.
You want a hint?
Tekken 3? Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. There you go. Doom. Yeah.
Doom 2016.
Hell yeah.
Okay. And then I think that's one more. Okay.
I don't think you're gonna get the last one because of specifically what I said last podcast.
See, the obvious choice, but I think is a trap, is Banjo. But you'd probably say Kazooie.
I would say Kazooie.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always the oddball out that picks Tooie as.
I've never got through Tooie because it's just so big, but I want to eventually.
That's why I like it more because it's so fucking big.
This one, I'd be shocked if you get this one because this is specifically a game that I think I'm spoiling if I say this. It's just
okay. So I think the sleeper here would probably be Skate 2. Okay. What is it?
A Link to the Past.
There we go.
Oh.
which I've not played, but I put some respect on that name, and I'm like, I think it deserves a big shout out there.
Yeah, spoiler for me, I didn't put any Zelda title on my list, which is
I was thinking at
there's
some point
so
we
many
would
games. There's so many games.
That's why I put like I did one, and then I was like, "Fuck, wait, I like this one," and so I put it like slash.
I'm
'Cause I
gonna-
can't be putting like all the Zelda.
So I'm gonna link you guys a list right there, so you guys can
Okay.
take a little gander of it.
Like a little damn.
I'm really surprised that the first one out the gate for Kells was not one that was on David's list.
Yeah, that's good. That one surprised me as well.
Let me take a look here.
So while we're doing that, I guess I had to make a list to anyone asking. I guess I preface by saying some of them I've finished, but I played convinced me to put my top 525. That's fair. That's where I'm at. Some of these games I've not actively played, but I would put these on a list.
Like, I get it. I am a very outspoken Metal Gear Solid fan. It is odd I would not put that in there, but
It's true.
All right, y'all. So with
This
that
man's not a
said,
fan of quiet.
I'm gonna assume that
the position.
the list of games that we have are gonna make it, and these might not still. Maybe we like realize we want to kick one out for another one because we do have some duplicate kind of genres here. But let's I'm gonna read off the list here in a second. Let me just clean up this list a little bit. And then from there we're gonna start kicking some of these guys out of the cool kids list. Should we do top 25? I think
Yeah,
top
I'm down
25
with
just
that.
sounds a little better too.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right. Plus it gives us a little more wiggle room because we already loaded this up a lot, I think. All right. So Kel's list consisted of Tekken 3, Metal Gear Solid 2 / Metal Gear Solid 3, Alan Wake 2, Control, Banjo-Tooie, Halo Reach, Wasteland 2 / 3, Fallout New Vegas, Doom 2016, Divinity Original Sin 2, Link to the Past / Majora's Mask, Red Dead 2, FF7 / FF12, Forza 3, Skate 2, Dishonored 2, Pokemon Crystal, Mass Effect 2, Batman Arkham City, Metroid Fusion, RE2 Remake, Telltale's The Walking Dead, Elden Ring / Dark Souls 3, Yakuza 0, and Jak 3, with honorable mentions being Kingdom Hearts 2 and Bioshock. David had, The House and Fate of Morgana, Grim Fandango, Civ 6 Complete Edition, Fallout New Vegas, Sacred 2 Fallen Angel, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Yakuza 0, Marvel vs. Capcom,
Phillips.
Let's go.
Capcom 2, Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, Disgaea 3, StarCraft 1, Chrono Trigger, Cold Step Saga, Final Fantasy 14, Bioshock, House of the Dead 2, Jackbox 3, EDF 5, Metal Slug 3, Pixel Junk Shooter, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn, Silent Hill 2, Portal, What Remains of Edith Finch, and then honorable mentions being Final Fantasy 9, Nier Automata, Demon's Souls, Higurashi When They Cry, and Mortal Kombat Deception. There's like one game on this list that surprised me, but I just love the fucking art style so much. Silent Hill 2, Fortnite, Edith Finch, Limbo, Nier Automata, Burnout 3 Revenge, Halo, Gears of War, Wii Sports, Grim Fandango, Red Dead 2, The Walking Dead, Stardew Valley, Mario Galaxy, Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, Gunstar Heroes, Last of Us, NBA Jam, Black Ops, Hollow Knight, The Dishwasher, Vampire Smile, To the Moon. Did I already put Doom up there? Or not. Doom 2016, Minecraft. There are honorable mentions being Castle Crashers, Kentucky Route Zero, Alan Wake 2, Ikaruga, Phoenix Wright, and any Pokemon would have been just.
I'm actually surprised Vampire Survivor's not on here.
That's fair.
Like, I don't know if that was an intentional like recency bias thing or not, but
I even really think about. You know what? I was when I was making this list, I was trying to not go too recency bias, whatever popped into my head. Vampire Survivors. I might just throw that just up here and just in case that might be something because there is no representation for that kind of thing, I guess, or maybe it's
no
a topic for conversation. Surprised Fortnite is on there, not hating surprised. So like I said, some of these games I'm not like super into, but I feel like zeitgeist wise and like just culturally wise, and also I think Fortnite's still probably the best built battle royale, which is a whole ass genre, right? Like
Most consistently well built too, right?
Yeah.
'Cause Call of Duty have yearly releases, and every year they release something that fucks it all up again.
I think we can like talk shit on Fortnite, but I think it's generally a super well maintained, well managed game without like I mean, yeah, you pay for skins, but like I mentioned, it's like those skins I feel like are yeah, it's like $20, right? But like those are skins like I compared to like Overwatch where you don't see your skin. I think Fortnite's like a really solid thing of like, okay, you get some bang for your buck in that aspect, right? If I said I would put Resident Evil on my list. Resident Evil was close somewhere on here. I was thinking I was
There
leaning
is
towards
some
7 and 4.
representation.
Yeah, we might do this still. So
Well, I mean, RE2 remakes on mine, if we want to.
yeah, I was
Get into
considering some
players.
of those. So right now our list currently, if we just incorporate just stuff that we've just mutually agreed on, it's Telltale's The Walking Dead, Doom 2016, A Link to the Past, Alan Wake 2, Red Dead 2, Silent Hill 2, Chrono Trigger, Edith Finch, Grim Fandango, Nier Automata, Yakuza 0, Fallout New Vegas, and BioShock. Definitely missing some novelty though. I feel like we got like this is a pretty standard
where's
list. I feel
Smash?
like we need to spice it up a little bit. So out the gate, is there anyone that wants to make a point as to one of these games I just listed off in the top 25 all the way down here? Does anyone want to make a reasoning as to why they do not belong in there? Do you want to just buck someone's like pick off out the gate?
You know what? I'll throw hands with Kells for a second. If you're gonna put a Metroid game on your list, why Fusion?
No. So the top 25 all the way to the bottom, really quick, before we start fighting hands on those.
Oh, okay. Like what's currently in the top 25?
Yes. Is there anyone that wants to fight with one of those and be like, look, doesn't belong there? Because that would be the argument you'd be fighting against two people on right now.
I mean, I have one I would make an argument on, but
well, go ahead. Like make it, because like either way, we're gonna have to probably cross that at some point, right?
I mean, the problem is that they're games I haven't played myself, so I should hold reservation until that point.
Let me see.
Which one he's going for too?
If everybody wants me to throw us up here really quick, let me get this up and we're good. All right. Sorry. Say it again, David. What was
You know what? There is one I'll take a at. Just because of my own personal biases. I don't think Walking Dead should be there.
Okay, make your point.
All right, my point is that it's not really that unique or stand out. It was only popular because of the zeitgeist of the time it came out in. It had all of the Walking Dead fans kind of fervent and really hungry for more content. And it's an adventure game with none of the adventure game elements. It's as we talked about before a lot in this podcast. It is a coloring book of an adventure game where you get to pretend it's a choose your own adventure, but none of your choices really matter. You're just kind of going along for this ride, and instead of having like interesting and engaging puzzles like a traditional adventure game, or just taking you on a journey like a walking simulator style one, it's giving you a grand illusion that what you do matters. And ultimately, it rings hollow in comparison to a lot of other adventure games in general. If you stack it up against its own genre, Telltale games don't really hold up. If you just look at it as like, well, it's kind of its own subgenre of like, you kind of do your own thing, but you don't really, then sure, I'd say Wolf Among Us probably did it better, but I could understand for cultural relevancy it being there. But I don't think in terms of like if we were to say, top 25 of all time, absolutely not.
I just put it there not quite for like the mechanics or the IP itself, but mainly for the story. I think the story there between Lee
and Clementine,
and his growth, and Clementine, I think that's just a really beautiful story. I enjoy that. But I think you're right though. It's not. I think there's an argument to be made. It's probably not the best in its genre game wise, because I consider it more of like almost like a visual novel, like walking simulator. I don't view it as like a choose your own adventure or anything like that, because I think it's pretty easy to tell that they have a story that they want to tell, and any choices you make are superficial. I know there's one at the beginning that you can make that's like one of the bigger choices. It's if you want to keep the journalist, or I forget the other one, because it's the journalist that has the gun, and it's the dude that you can save.
It's the one that the other guy no one saved.
Yeah, that no one saves. Exactly.
Not for anything,
But
not for any reason, just that the journalist was much more badass.
Right, and I always felt like the choices were more of like a fun thing to like keep you engaged, right? Because they gave you the percentages, like, oh, this many people picked this many people picked that, blah. It was kind of like just a for fun type of thing.
And they,
But I get how that can be. It was probably it probably wasn't marketed that way.
They
probably
do
marketed as like a choose type thing.
right. They nullify your choice essentially, right? Like no matter where you pick,
Yeah.
like usually like an episode 2 later, they have to branch it back because they didn't want to write. Oops, they want to write for
There has
all
to be
these
a
different.
canon.
Right.
Yeah.
With
But-
shout outs, real quick, I gotta fucking look up the name of it. But there actually is a death game, like a Danganronpa style game that legitimately is a choose your own adventure kind of style, where part of the reason the game is taking so long to finish, it's a single dev and he releases it in chapters. It's because he legitimately is writing for every possibility a player could have chosen along the way, including for each prior chapter. So there's one mad lad. I gotta look up the name of the game again, but there is one mad lad out there who has been releasing a choose your own adventure style death game in the style of like a Danganronpa, where legitimately every single choice matters because he writes every subsequent chapter to have a possibility for every option that was selected in the one prior.
Interesting.
Shout outs to that mad lad.
Trey Fiddy in chat with the hell yeah. Abe
Hell
said,
yeah.
I think if you have Grim Fandango there, I understand why Walking Dead is on there simply because of the story. Although I like Wolf Among Us as a more recent. However, I do understand why you'd probably not have it on there. Choices in this game don't really have many consequences, and choices are more obvious than others. Yeah, so
I'd make the argument over Wolf Among Us that Walking Dead's a complete story as of right now.
that, but also even just the chapter or the season 1 of Walking Dead, I think holds its own as its own.
Perfectly stands alone.
It's like if you want more, you can get more. But like if you ended it right there, I think it's a fantastic package you can just wrap up. I do want to eventually play it all the way through. I've never played the whole thing. I've
You haven't? Damn. Okay.
no, because I always just manage to get through it. It's Phoenix Wright syndrome for me right now, which is like I've played through the beginning of it so many times. I played through the first 3 cases of Phoenix Wright 1 so many times, but I would hate to like skip it. So like Walking Dead season 1, I played a lot, but I need to go through it again if I want to do the rest of it.
I think they have it to where you can just make the choices now.
Yeah, but my brain
instead of,
just-
like loading your own.
Brain just doesn't. I might have the girlfriend play through it or like have her make the choices through it.
That's unfortunate because I feel like the first season's like super long compared to the other ones.
Right. But season 1
I feel
is
like that's where all the sauce went.
season 1's phenomenal.
It's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. And I'm one of the mad lads that like I like the second and third season as well. I mean,
I said second
I
season
had
was
a lot
fine.
of fun
I liked
with
it.
Yeah.
I
so you've played that one. Okay.
played second season. Third
Okay.
season, because I remember third season took a while or
That
something
one
like
got
that.
me so hard with Kitty. God damn it. Oh, fuck.
Oh, dude, like what a nuanced character.
God damn it. Yeah, because you'll love him one moment, you'll hate him the next, and you'll fucking love him the next.
And then,
you'll
but
be
like you
crying
can
over him.
understand why, like every
Yeah.
every
He's
like
human. He's like so human out of all the characters.
he's incredibly human, and also like in that world where things are just gonna be irrational, that's just hallmark, you know.
He's like almost epitomizes a lot of like what The Walking Dead is as a franchise.
Yeah.
Because you see his character arc. I don't want to say a lot because it's not like something that's retreaded, but you kind of see the arc of someone, the growth of someone starting off at one point and then going into like a few different directions. And Kenny's one that you don't see all the time.
Yeah.
And the way you see it is just so despairing. It's
tragic. I think
it's so tragic, absolutely tragic.
yeah, no,
Because you're literally there with him through every bad moment of his life, starting at the start of the zombie apocalypse.
right, and it's like not even to your
crazy.
own like. It's not even because of you. It's just you just happen to. But like that's kind of the point of The Walking Dead,
Circumstance,
right? Is like everything just
Exactly.
just sucks. There is beauty in those moments, but like, man, it's seldom, and you gotta cherish that shit.
Yeah, and that's what ties you to Kenny, because you get those beautiful moments in between, and you have that connection from Lee. And oh god,
Um,
I want to play it now.
so yeah, David made his point, and I don't disagree with David's points. I think David has a lot of solid
I
points on
can't
there.
argue with any of them. Yeah,
I do disagree and say that I think it does a lot more than we think. We mentioned it kind of last week, but it did really spearhead a lot of just the modern video game telling, you know, where it's like fatherly figure, kid figure going through this crazy story together. It created. I don't know if it created, because Last of Us was like a little bit afterwards, but like,
well, that's a young wolf and cub. That's a kind of an old trope, but it is it's kind of like one of the big ones that kind of brought it back.
it modernized it for video games, because I can't
For
think
sure.
of many video games before The Walking Dead that really capitalized on that. But nowadays, it's like there's so many of those.
I think in the RPG genre, it got used a lot, but it outside that,
Right.
that it became more widely used. Also, the game is called Your Turn to Die. That's the game.
It's on Steam.
Yes, it's been in development since 2019 and is still under development right now. But again,
it has not been in development as long as Concord.
No, but it is I think actually a free game. But the Mad Lad has been.
This game, no, it's $17.
Okay, so now it's $17. Okay,
It's got
the first couple chapters were originally like free.
It's very positive and overwhelmingly positive for all reviews.
But yeah, no. So that's the game where this Mad Lad, when he releases a new chapter, it takes him a long ass time because
it has AI stuff in it.
Does it really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, fucking hell, I said check it didn't.
Nah, this guy's the real deal. Good for him. I put that on my wish list. Now you can buy it for
Yeah,
Christmas.
100% recommend that one. It is, if you wanted to see that type of game where you're like, I want my choices to actually matter to the absolute extreme, Your Turn to Die is 100% the one. Especially if you like the death game kind of feel, like 999 or Danganronpa hits right in that same area.
Nice. Just to go back to that for a second. Also, I feel like the choices are big, but they weren't like the draw, like the standout thing. It's just an amazing story. I think the way it's played out works out super well. Again, we're talking like, even when we talk about like Mass Effect 2, right? Mass Effect 2 handles the fact that you could lose your entire fucking party in 2, and you got a whole game to go still, like, you know, like, and you will not get them back. There's not some weird
yeah, you still have like a whole like third to a quarter of the game left.
Yeah, which is another fascinating thing, because there's so much dialogue in 3 that most people never see, because who wants to lose their party?
Right. I would love to do that.
I had to save Tally. I'd do it all for Tally.
I would love, yeah, Tally's my girl.
Tally is ride or die always.
Tally, Zori, Voss.
It did bug me that the picture of her was just some stolen artwork, though. That
yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. When we didn't know that, I was like, damn, dude, Tally looks pretty good for under that helmet. Hell yeah. And then it was a buzzkill, because like, oh, you stole the artwork? That's unfortunate. Okay.
But that's what I was working for? Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. We knew. The real ones knew. Yeah, so like I said, David, I respect your gumption on that. I'm gonna leave it on there. Unless Kells is like cool with kicking it off, or do you want to keep it on there?
I'm perfectly fine keeping it there.
Okay, yeah, let's keep it. And if we need to fight something else, we need to fight something else. But like,
we'll see what happens when we need to make room.
I think when you talk about the most digestible stories and like that kind of emotion, I think like the kind of emotion you get in there is solid for your length, right? Like, I mean, I think like top tier is like Edith Finch, right? You get like 2 hours of like just this fucking emotional roller coaster, but like there's a lot of story being told and a lot of different things happening and a lot of morale decisions in The Walking Dead that really happened in that first season. And it's like, it's almost like it's long, like Kel said, but like it's also kind of goes by in a blink. Like I know they kind of
It's one of those games you can binge, and like next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, it's dark out.
right. And like, I know I said that I played a lot. I have played a lot, but I mean, you're talking about like you go from like these situations where like, all right, who do you help because like you need to get some pills to like cannibals to like these
Should I help the dude whose foot's stuck in the trap?
yeah, to cement blocks to, and then you get that badass moment where like with I won't spoil it in case you haven't, but like there's a badass moment where like one of your characters is like it plays like the rock music and he's about to just fucking go in, and you're like, let's go, dude, you know what we're doing, and I think the payoff in the apartment is just, mwah, just like that's my girl, dude. I get it. The walk or Last of Us. I love Last of Us. Obviously, that was on my list. I didn't feel like it felt like a Joel and Ellie story, but for whatever reason, like I took a lot of ownership in The Walking Dead, where it's like, yes, it's Lee, and Lee is his own character, but like I felt like a parent too. Like I will reference like Clementine as my girl. Like I'm like that.
Dude,
That's
Clementine's like up there as one of my favorite like video game characters.
I have
for
the
sure.
hat somewhere. I forget where it is, but and then like and even so, whether or not you like the thing or not, seeing her grow up in the different games is just satisfying as fuck, because it's like, again, you take you take ownership in parenting that almost. You're like, this badass fucking Lee, dude, we got her through that shit. So
That's
yeah,
our girl.
yeah, dude. I fucking love it. So anyway, let's go off and let's let Kels. I'm wondering how to do this. Kels, David, is there we should go through this list like one by one in all of us. How about this? I have a tentative list. I didn't spell it right, did I? Nope. Tentative.
That's fine.
We're gonna go through there. If we can agree with the game, let's just throw it down there. However long this list does, that's fine. But we gotta like all kind of agree and start parsing down these lists, right? So like Tekken 3. David, I'm surprised this was not on your list.
That's because
He had
if
other
I put a
fighters on
Tekken
his
game on
list.
my list, it wouldn't be 3.
Tekken Tag.
I was either tag 2 or 3 were my options.
So
here.
Yeah.
here's the thing, Kels, how do you feel about MVC 2?
I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not a huge Marvel vs. Capcom fan, but if there has to be a fighting game representative, that's a solid pick.
So I'm gonna throw this out there. Can we all throw up there if we're like Tekken Tag 2 belongs on this list? But because we have a tag with Marvel vs. Capcom, and we have Tekken with Kels, I'm just gonna gun down the middle and get the best of both worlds there. If you guys are cool with that, cool. If not, if you guys are like, no, fuck that, speak
I
now.
mean, this list would not. It can't be a top list without Marvel.
Do it. I think Marvel definitely deserves a spot on a top 25 list. It's just not. I judge by different criteria. So
Okay, so let's say argued. Would it change if it was Marvel 3 versus Marvel 2?
It doesn't. It could be whatever Marvel. I don't really mind.
All right.
It's just that my personal, obviously, you know, I'm not necessarily not a Marvel vs. Capcom fan. I'm just not a Marvel vs. Capcom fan, you know. So I can fuck with Tekken Tag 2 being on there, but that's fine. I wouldn't mind. We do need a fighting game on there.
yeah, very valid.
All right, David's gonna fight this vehemently, but we need to have an open mind with this. Metal Gear
I am
Solid.
the most open-minded individuals. Thank you very much.
Sure. Metal Gear Solid. Kels, you're the only one that set this on here, obviously. Why? What are we talking about? And how do we convince David that this is a worthy title?
I don't know if there is any convincing to be done, but I think Metal Gear Solid fits that niche of kind of like over the top spy drama, and I think it does like the spy stuff well. It has a lot of what you're looking for in that, and I think it presents that to you. I think a lot of what drives people away is kind of like the aesthetic, the over the top storytelling, and a lot of the gratuitous moments in there, but that's why I'm there.
Counter argument: if we're going specifically for a lot of that spy shit, Pandora Tomorrow.
I was gonna say Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman was gonna be
Hitman
another
or
one for me,
Splinter
but
Cell. Either
a
of
lot
those
of
two
those are
I'm
hard.
okay
But-
with.
Remember, this is spy, but also like there is a novelty to having a Kojima game on here. Would love him or
Yeah,
hate him, David. Like I feel like that Kojima is a staple.
He's a novelty. It doesn't necessarily mean that he needs to be in a top 25.
Yeah, no, and like I was saying, for me, I feel like that's what I was saying. The game does all the spy shit good, but for me, what takes it over the top is the story and everything else involved with the plot.
Because like real talk, for putting it, if we had to put him,
You muted your
fucking just commit and go Revengeance.
Like I understand where you're going with this, but I again, as someone who's not played it though, like I see the prestige
Yeah, and I
in
think Metal Gear Solid 3 also kind of sets forth like a lot of what did come a little bit later with games of that sort, because there is a lot of interactivity.
Yeah,
To say the
I
least.
will give especially Metal Gear Solid 3 some interesting credit. It did have a lot of dynamic ways to engage with the game. It had a false game over screen where if you just fucking waited a little bit to continue on, it had a boss fight you could beat if you just legitimately waited a week and returned to your save file.
That
The
same
dude
boss
would
fight
die
you
of
could beat by
starvation.
shooting him like 2 hours earlier in the game.
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot to say, and again, I think I know you don't like him. I get these believe his novelty, but I think that's a nice novelty to have in this list, just because you never it's gonna resonate with some people. Obviously it has resonated with some people, but it would resonate with some, and it could be whoever this list would go towards. It could be that person. I feel like.
But my counter argument is if we're talking about the merit of the gameplay, modern Hitman does a lot of modern Hitman 100%
I believe
anything with that Metal Gear is trying to do to an absurd extreme.
I agree.
The only thing it doesn't have is the weird anime cuckery.
I agree there, but I wouldn't recommend the modern Hitman games for other reasons.
Oh, I'm curious. What are those reasons?
Mainly just due to how they distributed the game in the first place. I think that was
episodic.
I'm still sour about that. Yeah,
that's fair. At the time of release, 100% I agree.
And I still think if someone was good, coherent like through line there, it's kind of like vignettes into like Agent 47, right?
They're sandbox games just for sandboxy, which is cool because they're fun, but doesn't actually push a narrative.
That's fine, and they all look and play great, but yeah, it doesn't fit that narrative itch that I want.
That's fair. Because I will also say that's not necessarily an endorsement of the writing of the story, but certainly Kojima's writing is.
It hurts him to say that. That's why I had to close his eyes to say that.
Kojima's writing is unique.
All right,
I wouldn't be wanting that on that list, but I could also understand if we're at least putting it in the tentative category.
I'm gonna bold games we're coming back to, because Tekken 3 is no longer gonna be there anymore, so I'm gonna leave that there.
I think he deserves at least one spot in the top 25, and if there's a game to put there, it's MGS3.
You know what? No, if he deserves to, fuck it, we'll give it to him for a fucking demo with PT. Unironically, the man made one of the most horrifying horror games and didn't even finish making it.
Is that an option for you, Kels, or are you gonna do Metal Gear?
Nah, Metal Gear. I never get to fuck with PT.
You know what? Fuck you. Where's Zone of the Enders, Kels? Huh? Where's your culture? Where's your giant dick
I just played that on the demo.
Look, how about this? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna bold every game that did not get a unified 3, but we will come back to them. But this list does not come back afterwards. Go back to everybody. Revengeance because of memes. Did anyone put a God of War on the list or honorable mentions? Nope.
No, I thought about it, but no.
Dishonored. I
haven't played them.
Kels had Dishonored. And then I'm actually liking Death Stranding. I really need to go back to that. I was thinking about playing that recently.
All right, you two scored about Alan Wake.
Yeah.
All right, so Metal Gear Solid, right?
Great. Pepperoni, highly recommend. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3. That will be a game's gone by as long as I'm here to bitch about it.
Hell yeah, dude.
So here's what I'm scared. So fucking good, but
here's what I'm
non-linear narrative is confusing.
So, where would you ask me to start if I wanted to start this journey in Metal Gear? Because
just play Metal Gear 3.
Okay, because
Solid 3. My bad.
Okay, but with that, does that make it hard to go back to 2? Because my brain needs to start at the beginning of sagas.
Yeah, I don't think so because it's kind of like the Silent Hill effect a little bit. So 3 is technically the start of the story. And then you wouldn't start at 2. Then you'd want to go 1 and then 2 because 2 has a twist in it that hits harder if you play 1.
Okay, so should I just start? And we're talking about start Metal Gear Solid. Don't start on Metal Gear.
Solid. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Solid for sure.
Okay, because I'm definitely thinking that. All right, so Alan Wake 2. We put that on here for good
Yeah.
reason.
For absolutely great reason.
April Mary started out saying, "I'm surprised 2 is on here rather than 1, but I can understand and presume gameplay got better for it in a sequel." For Alan Wake, Jesus,
He roars.
yeah.
Damn, that fucking alarm's going through me.
I think it's pretty clear cut as to why 2's over 1. Kels, I think once you play it, I feel like it's you're hard pressed. You'll find the occasional fan that likes 1 more than 2.
Yeah, and so I haven't played 1 super recently, but from what I remember of it, and
It wasn't good.
yeah, it wasn't great. It was one of those games where it's like, yep, that was a game I played it. I'm not
I like
going back through that.
American Nightmare was fine. Like it was
Yeah.
passable. It felt like a video game.
I think
That's the one I have the most fond memories of.
I like Alan Wake
that.
1, if only just because like the potential, right? Like
That's exactly how it was for me too. It was like after playing it, you're like, oh, cool. That the next one will be cool.
right. Which I mean, hey,
That was that
they're right.
generation where
We're
you were
right.
getting sequels.
Yeah, we were right though. It took a while, but we were right. Alan Wake 1 was one of those games where it felt so unique. It just felt like in terms of narrative, the way it presented that, right? The gameplay itself was very mid, but like everything around it was just like screamed potential. As it screamed like, give these guys some money and give these guys like whatever time they need, and they'll cook something good. And my God, they cooked something good with 2. Everything.
Yeah, because it kind of leads into another pick on my list. But after playing Control was whenever like I really started to get more excited because it was one of those things you're like, oh, so this is what they're capable of now.
Control
Because-
really made Remedy be like the Remedy stood on business when they made Control. They were like, all right, here's who we
yeah,
are.
They,
Here's what we're gonna
leveled
do.
up with Control.
Yeah.
100%. They went into their new form with Control because I feel like Control took a lot of like the identity that they tried to establish with Alan Wake. They tried to do like the third person perspective, kind of semi shooter, semi kind of like puzzler a little bit. But I feel like Control took it like and ramped it up to like 11.
Control was
with,
the amalgamation of everything Remedy done, like right, like because with
100%. Yeah.
they really tried to do a lot of stuff with Quantum Break, tried to do a lot of stuff with Alan Wake, and it was like, all right, what if we just like really try to make something completely original and really hone in on this certain thing, and it worked out tenfold. I think everything about it, gameplays, it's fun, it's amazing to explore, it oozes style like a motherfucker, like everything about that is just so cool. And going in and you look at that and you're like, oh, this is Remedy. This is now what Remedy is, and Alan Wake 2 just amplifies that and been like, okay, yeah, they're taking everything that was positive about Remedy, which or Control, which was great a lot, and they just slapped that shit all over Alan Wake stuff, which made for the best combination.
Yeah, and it's like an attention to detail there too, right? Because there's a lot of times where like there's just a lot of like time and patience spent on the small things, and it really pays off whenever you see it.
Agreed. And it felt like a sequel worth waiting for, genuinely.
Yeah. A sequel in multiple ways too, in a weird way, with
So-
how they're starting to establish everything.
With that said, I don't know how I'd feel adding 2 Remedy games
Yeah.
on a top 25 list. I think
So which one goes?
For me, it'd definitely be Control, because mainly I have another game that came out that same year that was, I feel like, better than Control for me, but I like Control for different reasons. So I'd chop Control and go Alan Wake 2.
I would do Alan Wake 2
100%.
specifically because the reason why I picked it was I think it's the closest we've gone to blending, like not an FMV, but like blending
too.
live action into just seamless like kind of gameplay where it's like, oh, this shit is starting to really just meld together. And I just like that. I think it's really a masterclass on storytelling, and I think the fact that Alan Wake 2 is really 2 halves of one amazing coin, where it's like Saga is there for the newbies. Hey, here's a whole brand new story. Explore that and learn what you can. All right, for everyone that's been waiting, here's Alan Wake's side, and it's just as fucking weird as you'd imagine. And like, I've heard universally from people that played Alan Wake 2 as their first one. Saga, that whole side of it, really clicked everything together, and it didn't make you feel like yeah, you're gonna go like, what the fuck's going on? Because like even the vets are like, what the fuck's going on? But like in a good way. So adios, Control.
Bye bye.
We're moving on. Banjo Tooie.
So this kind of gets to where A Pepperoni was talking about. He's talking about putting in platformers. Banjo and Tooie is kind of like there's a formative platformer for me for sure. And then later down my list, I kind of get to the platformer I played as like a not quite a young adult, but as a mid teenager, and that kind of develops from there. But yeah, Banjo Tooie, we were talking about earlier, is a big expansion on kind of like what Banjo Kazooie was. You needed the expansion cart for it, and yeah, just really fun game, fond memories.
Man, I'm torn because I forgot about the platformer genre, honestly, while making my list.
Ooh,
And it's partially because I like platformers, but they're not amongst my favorites. But it is one of those things that, yeah, Banjo Tooie is. Man, I feel like it goes into that Portal 2 problem for me, where Portal 2 is just too girthy
yeah,
to really be like, no, this is the clean, simple, definitive, like, all right, here's your fucking puzzle game, which is why I go like Portal 1 over Portal 2 usually. And I think I have to kind of agree with Adrian of like, if we're talking Banjo Tooie versus Banjo and Kazooie, I go Banjo and Kazooie only just because it is that leaner, like, we're not getting too crazy with it, but you still feel like you have a hearty experience.
I think
I can see that.
Portal 2 is solid in that it gives you stuff to chew on the entire way through, so it doesn't necessarily overstay its welcome. But there are times, and there are times the opposite too, but there are times where sometimes it's like I just want something lean and clean and just get right through. And I never put that in perspective with Portal 1 and Portal 2. I could see that being a thing though, but
Think of it this way: like Portal 1 is like a 1.5
yeah, no,
to
no,
2 hour
I
long.
understand. I don't disagree. I mean, I never put that. I never compared those two, which is actually fascinating
Fair.
to me. But I mean, we all know I fuck with Banjo Kazooie, but I don't mind. So David has no platformer. So Kels, I'm kind of throwing this at you. My platformer choice was Mario Galaxy.
Mhm.
Ooh.
My only issue with that is I haven't played them recently enough for me to be like to remember if I like 2 or 1 better, but they are solid.
2 was more creative, but it didn't have the hub world, so it didn't feel like an adventure. It felt like a new Super Mario Brothers style, but just Mario Galaxy, you know?
Yeah, I think if I was comparing them side by side, I think Galaxy 2 is the better game.
Shame that we never got
But-
that back on the collection.
Just wait until the 35th anniversary of Mario. We'll see it again.
Yeah.
In another limited release collector's edition.
So, yeah, I'm gonna throw it to you, Kels. What do you think would makes it on this platformer list? Like,
Obviously, Donkey Kong 64.
Right, there's a good in between. No, like I said before, I kind of did my list a little bit on a different basis, so it's all valid to me.
Fuck!
yes, David.
Donkey Kong Country 1 should be on this fucking list. If we're talking platformers.
I was thinking we'd go with something more modernized, like Tropical Freeze or something.
Yeah, man, Donkey Kong Country 1 or 3, it just fucking
3?
peak. 3 is good. Like, yes, I understand that a lot of people don't like fucking Baby Kong. I get that. But if you look at it from a sheer gameplay perspective, 3 is fucking lit. And honestly, 3 has the best soundtrack of the Donkey Kong Country games. I will fight anyone on that one.
Which one has a aquatic? What's it? Aquatic. Whatever the underwater.
Swordfish?
Which one has the underwater music that's really sublime?
1.
Okay,
1
that
has the best underwater
will
one.
win. I'm gonna put potential up here. Just we can come back to DK maybe.
Yeah,
Donkey
that-
Kong
that's
Country.
fair.
That's a fair game to mention because I do think we're also missing a lot of retros. Just skimming through a lot of
Yeah.
things, but we still got a lot to talk about.
We
So,
got
we
again. This is a girthy list.
This will
So
All right,
yeah.
so
keep going.
retro platformer and modern platformer.
Okay. Out here, here's what I'm gonna say: Halo Reach. David, is that your favorite Halo?
Yeah, it's my favorite Halo. Again, coming from the perspective of someone that didn't like Halo before, and
PlayStation
then
guy.
was convinced by Adrian to no, let me take you on this journey. And so I spent like almost a year playing every Halo game back to back. Reach is fucking peak.
So I actually, it's funny
Absolutely.
we mentioned that because I was telling my girlfriend about that. I was like, yeah, me and him played these games. I this is before I was a teacher, but I was like, I gave him the whole teacher spill where I had full on PowerPoints. I had videos queued up. I was like, all right, here's where we're gonna go. So I put Halo 1. Halo 2 is like my baby.
Ooh.
Halo 2 is my baby. Like that's I fucking fuck with Halo 2. But Halo 1 versus Halo Reach, I would lean towards Reach if only because it's a standalone, and Halo 1 is standalone too. But I think just more polished, stronger gameplay, stronger narrative. I feel like I think they've really honed in on their narrative, and the last sequence is just legendary.
So fucking just survive. Just
I remember David's reaction to that level. I didn't say anything. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And David, we're just playing it, and David's like, does this end? I'm like, huh, maybe not. And David was like getting hyped up, just like playing it. We're like,
yeah, because the
like,
second I started, I realized that my visor was fucked up. I'm like, oh shit.
and then like just as time goes on, there's just like fucking insurmountable amounts of elites everywhere. And then like, all right, cool, I got the elites, that's fine. Come up with swords everywhere, and you're like, all right, I think I'm fucked.
Oh man, Reach is just so poignant, so beautiful. Granted, I'm also a sucker for the kind of Last Stand kind of story.
That shit, it's so good. Like that is the epitome of Last Stand in video games. I can't think of another game that holds it to that level on top of my head.
And it's really interesting too, because you're probably not coming at it like judging it for its multiplayer as well, huh? You're probably
no,
looking at it
I was
solely
just
yeah.
from a story.
I fucked with that multiplayer.
And
too.
controls,
So-
because honestly,
so much.
for me, the gunplay in Reach was some of the best in the series. as
You
well.
would have that multiplayer. I think you would have hooked on it, dude. It was so much fun. And you know what the cool thing is like it had this microtransaction feel to it, but without actual microtransactions. So it's like you had to do these challenges every day. You got so many credits, but like there were some of these armor effects that cost an obscene amount of credits for you to get to. But like once you saw people with it, you're like, oh, that's a crazy motherfucker right there.
There goes Buddy with the fart cloud.
Yeah,
pestilence.
Dude, I'll never forget like where I was. I remember like the moment I got inclement weather. I was like, oh fuck yes, finally inclement weather. You had like clouds around you and like lightning striking you as you went.
Oh, that's so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And it took pestilence just had like it like stink cloud around you. Like it was, and they cost a lot. Like I'm telling you, like the credit grind was massive. So like you did not see many people on that game with armor effects like that, but it really held it.
No, it was really like a legendary thing. Like if you seen someone like with like the hallowed helm, and they're like the highest rank, everyone in the lobby was like, oh, like just soy face them pointing.
Yeah.
Because it was like something that you put in time to get to. It
Mhm.
wasn't like a quick grind. I put in like hundreds of hours, not even getting anywhere close. To, like
Forge,
halfway through all the levels.
Forge is great. I think the games that they had, the weapons were great. Yes, David.
It just reminds me of a first-person shooter I forgot to put on this list as well. But honestly, I don't think I would put it over Halo Reach, so it kind of doesn't matter. But an honorable mention should be Unreal Tournament.
Very
Yeah.
honorable. I agree.
Very honorable.
Everyone, is there a Halo game you would consider underrated that would be able to compete? You know what? I'm gonna fucking say
Halo
it.
5.
No, I'm gonna say it. Halo Infinite, bro.
I still gotta play that.
People want to fucking fight me on that if they want to. That's fine. The gameplay of Halo Infinite's fucking great.
I just don't like the open world. Like they could have made that into like a story based, and it would have been 10 times better.
you know what? I'm not gonna say no to that, but also I'm not gonna lie. I had so much fun just using the slingshot just all around that place. Like if it wasn't for an open world, I would have probably asked, can we get some barren ass shit so I could just slingshot my way around everything? Because it was like I would just like go like that, shing, shing, and
You
then
know
just saying like random outposts, and you're like, I'm just gonna steal that fucking guy's ghost. Shing, got it, cool, I'm out.
It's totally my Banshee.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is Infinite is the only one where I only player, not the single player, because we've played Infinite's multiplayer a bit.
Mm-hmm.
343, I will admit, I'll give them credit for one thing. They got the gunplay down.
Yeah.
They
Like-
can't write a story to fucking save their lives.
There are some moments. There are some moments that I'm like, all right, whoever wrote this moment, just fucking tell them to do more. Where it's like,
yeah, like okay, so you've played through Infinite, right?
Yeah.
Adrian. Like there's a moment where he's interacting with the pilot, and
so fuck off with
fucking
anyone that
good.
says that that's cheesy shit. Because the whole point is Master Chief
No.
doesn't speak that much. Like he is a very
Yeah,
like
yep.
stoic ass motherfucker.
What are
He
you
does not
talking
speak.
about? In
Shut
the
up.
Peacock
I know what you're gonna
series,
say.
he's
Shut up.
talking cheap.
Yeah. Master Cheek talks plenty.
Like he's stoic. So like there's this pilot who's been going through hell with you. Like
It means something whenever he talks.
dude, like this pilot has been going through the fucking ringer, right? And he's a fucking human. He has to look up 14 feet to get to look at Master Chief, but like he's like I think it's like I miss my family. Like what the fuck? Like what am I doing? And Master Chief like gave him the almost like the dad talk, right? Like, all right, son, I'm gonna just give this to you like straight up, and like gave a talk, and it was poignant, and it was like, where the fuck is this at? That, and then you got the cool like actiony moments where it's like Master Chief jumps out and the Halo theme comes on. He comes up there and they land inside the fucking Pelican. They fly off. I'm like, where the fuck are some of these moments at? Like, give me much more of this. We had to retcon so much Cortana bullshit that it's like, fuck off, man.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of really cool, just like small moments that made a lot of that like interactions for me. Like, there's a moment at the very beginning where you're going through space to get back onto the Pelican. There's a bunch of debris, and Chief's like pushing rubble aside and stuff as he's floating. But then there's like a warthog with Marines in it, and he like kind of gently moves the Marines out of the way. And it's like you can kind of see the care that he's putting into it. It's just little moments like that.
Yeah, Master Chief
Like-
is such a phenomenally nuanced character that it does not get the credit they deserve, because they are the Avatar, right? They were supposed to input ourselves, but like if you take yourself out of that, like they're stoic. They have their one-liners, but like they're stoic and they're a soldier. They are a fucking full-built soldier. So getting that like talk in Infinite was a long time like coming. Like it's like we've never had like that straight up of a talk. It's always been like a few lines here or there, but that was like a whole ass talk.
And one of
even
the
salutes
things,
the dead Spartans that you find in the story
Yeah.
too.
and it's kind of one of those things where I've talked about this a little bit before as well. I don't know why. It feels like 343 doesn't also understand the heart of Master Chief, because it feels like everyone that writes for him at 343 writes him in that prototypical, like, oh, he's the best. He's just the standout man. He's the strongest and the fastest. And it's like, no, literally the whole point of him, and Cortana explains this in detail, he just happened to be the luckiest.
Right,
He's
but
not the best.
I'll
He's not
disagree
the
a
most
little bit.
intelligent.
disagree a little bit, because like he is luckiest, but imagine putting yourself in civilian shoes and there's just this mythical soldier that has gone through multiple wars and has lived through all this chaos and is still standing. Like I think all of us would also be like, what the fuck, that guy's
But that's the beauty of it.
right.
Is it's not like it's because he's so superior. Bro's just fucking lucky.
No, he's the jack of all trades. Is how he's always been described.
He's
It's like
the jack of all trades, and he does have his cool moments, like with towards the end of fucking Fallout 1. Or
Halo 1.
Halo
Yeah, Fallout
1.
1.
Jesus
he
Christ.
shows up there.
I am way too many of these fucking in at this point. But towards the end of Halo 1, where he starts getting a lot more one-linery, he has his interesting moments like that. But at the end of the day, he's still a dude carrying a lot of fucking trauma. He was a child soldier
And to tie
that
it
just was
back in-
doing his best.
And to tie it back in, I feel like that's why the ending of Reach hits a little bit harder too, right?
Because it was
Yes.
everyone doing this for him.
Well, doing this to get, because you find out like, oh shit, this is Cortana, and then you're like, wait a minute,
But they have that,
and you start to realize there as you get closer to the end, you're like, wait a minute, where the fuck am I taking this?
and then,
and then-
that Easter egg where if you go in the final cutscene, if you move the thumbstick a little bit, you actually move the camera, and you see Chief in the cryo tube.
Yep.
Yeah, so it builds up like you're doing this for, and like everyone's dying for Chief to move on, and be who he can be. I think Halo 1 does a lot, but I would totally be okay with throwing out Halo 1 and putting Reach in there. If I'm sure David has no qualms with that whatsoever.
No, absolutely. If a Halo game, if you only had to pick one, Reach should be there, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like Reach is that perfect, just like vignette into like if you want someone to experience Halo and they don't want to dedicate themselves to like a trilogy or whatever, Halo Reach, get in, get out. You understand what Spartans are. You understand the fight going on. Have fun.
Hell yeah! All right, Wasteland 2 or 3.
Oof. If I'm gonna pick one, I'd probably go 3, just because it's the new shiny, really slick, polished game, and because there's an AI Ronald Reagan, which is awesome.
Nice. David?
I have no thoughts. I'm just Ronald Reagan. That's fascinating.
But okay, so to narrow it down more, so I'm thinking CRPG here, which I have also Divinity. So
Oh, Divinity. Oh man, especially Divinity. Such a phenomenal standout of the genre.
yeah, and see, Original Sin 2 is my favorite out of them. I feel like it was one of those games at first, like especially this new wave of CRPGs coming out, because Wasteland 3 followed, Baldur's Gate 3 was of course Larian's next big work. It kind of like really showed like what's possible now, like what we can, because there's plenty of parts where like branching narratives, as we were talking about before. There's a lot of ways where games you can just completely lose a partner, lose a teammate, they're gone, and you're just kind of SOL. You just kind of keep going or hopefully get a revive scroll on them quick enough.
Not only that, but it is one of the most like freeing gameplay experiences.
Yeah.
Like I had a buddy that showed me his gameplay file. He played what he called a bagomancer, where literally his entire gameplay strategy just revolved into filling up his backpacks as much as possible and using telekinesis to throw backpacks at enemies. And it was the fact that like you could actually, in a weird way, abuse the rules of the game to min-max that and do some insane shit with it. And that's the beauty of especially Original Sin 2, is there's so many dumb, off-the-wall ideas that are perfectly legitimate because of the way that, to borrow tabletop terms a little bit here, rules as written, the way they work, completely works with whatever absurd idea, because mechanically it makes no difference. So while yes, technically your telekinesis is meant for like more impactful, powerful things, if you literally just want to throw your fucking backpack at people, there you go. That's your entire fucking fighting style. You're a dude who just doesn't necessarily telekinetically throw things at people. You're just mind throwing your fucking backpack. Or, oh, I'm going to have this like pure ice build, but then like it also, as I level up and like respec shit, can throw in like electric damage and things like that. So I get why a lot of people like Path of Exile, because Path of Exile is the extreme of that category, where it's almost too much to where I don't like it, because it's so easy to like start to get an understanding of how Path of Exile mechanically works. And then by that point, because you can't respec, you're like, oh, fuck, I want to completely restart my character. And then you restart your character, you mechanically start to understand even more about the game. Like, fuck, I need to restart again. And it's just this constant ocean of like, the more you evolve and understand and unpack, the more you just replaying the same beginning parts of the game because you understand it better. But Original Sin 2 just fucking peak of classic RPG genre for Western style.
I think you talked me out of Wasteland, and if I'm to submit one forth, I'd be submitting Divinity Original Sin 2.
Hell yeah.
But that's not to say Wasteland 2 and 3 are some of my favorite games as well.
No, Wasteland 2 is fantastic. I haven't played 3 yet, but from what I remember of 2, it felt like what honestly like Fallout 3 could have been, Van Buren. But man.
What could have been, but never was.
All right, in the interest of time, Fallout New Vegas made it on their list because you guys both agree with it. You guys want to give a quick minute or so spiel about this game as to why it's making on this list?
From my perspective, it's just peak that open world action RPG flavor.
Yeah.
It is the best writing in Fallout. It is some of the most like interesting elements of creativity, world building, and your own character building. A lot of freedom of gameplay, a lot of freedom of play styles, and it's the pinnacle of what Fallout can be for me personally.
That, and I'd say it has a lot of really good DLC that's not tied to like the
Yes.
main story as well. That has solid story.
All right. Congratulations to that. Doom 2016. David, you did not have this on your list.
I didn't have any Doom on my list. I almost put Doom on, but
You almost
honestly,
put what? Sorry,
I
you
can-
cut out a little bit. You almost put what?
I almost put the original Doom 2 on my list.
Wow.
But I didn't. Honestly, any Doom belongs to be on here. I'd almost argue Eternal is better than Doom 2016. The only reason that I feel like people don't like Doom Eternal as much as 2016 is honestly because of the more platformy elements of the game, because it does want you to use that grappling hook mechanic quite a bit. Whereas Doom 2016 basically just feels like, what if Doom actually was made as a modern fucking FPS game?
Remember that Xbox showcase? That Xbox showcase was great.
Yeah.
Just gonna reminisce about that for a second. That was a great showcase. 2016, I think is fantastic. I think it really encapsulates everything that's sick about Doom. And yeah, I think I have not played Eternal yet. I've heard about the platforming. I wouldn't mind. I'm sure I wouldn't mind the platformer, but I think
It's super
again,
solid, and I feel like the people that bitch about it are kind of overstating it for sure.
They also probably have a skill issue, is what I'm
Yeah.
also going to say.
Yeah.
I believe that. I just think
My-
2016 is just leaner.
Yeah, my issue would that's why I'd say I feel like 2016 is leaner. I like the story there, and I feel like I like the personification of Doom Guy a little bit better there.
Yeah, because we don't get much of the personification at that point. It's very much like, no, fuck this. We're here for one thing. We're here to kill demons. Let's fucking go.
Right. Rip and tear. I don't care about being related to like some Norse, Celtic, like elder gods or whatever.
Yeah, it's very much like, no, fuck you. Let's go.
Yeah.
I got one job here. I need to kill all these demons and get back home. Rabbit. Let's go.
I need a gun. Yeah, I need to get back home to the rabbit.
I love that plush rabbit that they sell where you can take its head off and put it on the side.
Oh.
All right, so we talked about Divinity Original Sin. Link to the Past. So, Kels, we and I agreed to Link to the Past. Are we gonna go with Link to the Past then?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would hard pressed to have me argue against Link to the Past, because ask me a different you get a different answer, but that is one of my favorite Zeldas of all time. So
Yep.
You want to say anything about that, or we just move it on?
Nope. Sounds perfect. That's how I am too. Any different day, I'm probably picking a different Zelda, but Link to the Past is always going to be one or two.
Red Dead 2. I'm excited. David's gonna one day play this now that we've convinced him to like it's not just GTA schlock. It is definitely its own Western ass story, and it has its own style and substance to it.
Yeah, this would be my entry for that Western style RPG, open world. Would you call it an RPG? I'd probably call it.
It feels very RPG.
Yeah, because there's stats. There's like your different guns have different stats. As
Managing your
well. You go
hideout.
hunting. Yeah, manage your hideout, manage your party.
Your
Yeah,
reputation.
yeah, your reputation there for sure. So yeah, I'd submit it there. And like you said, I feel like the story and how it handles the story and storytelling, I feel like it does elevate it over GTA schlock, you'd call it. But there is enough familiarity there to where you'll get the humdingers that you get from GTA. You'll get like the like, oh, here's a quirky
Absurdity.
figure. Yeah, exactly. The absurdist elements there for sure.
Um, it feels the most at home because right GTA, you play the GTA and like yeah, it's got a solid story, but like you're a mass murderer, you know. In Red Dead,
Yeah, you're
you're
objectively not a good person in GTA at
yeah,
any
no
time.
matter what, like it doesn't match up. Franklin can go around and murk 50 people and then come back home and just chill.
You can drive an ambulance all you want, but it doesn't erase all the other shit you do.
Whereas like Arthur Morgan knows he's not a good person and like he has that label of not a good person, but he's fighting against that and it comes off like super strong. Like you could tell he wants to buck that trend so much. And I feel like uh Red Dead really punishes you when you want to be an outlaw. Like it really actively like yeah, you get a 5-star in GTA, but you can hide in a bush for 4 seconds and you're good. But like I feel like I didn't want to like do that much in Red Dead because like it was a nuisance to shake that shit. Um,
Absolutely.
which made you less inclined to do that, right? But again, you're an outlaw. You're an outlaw, and you're not a great person, but you fight that a lot, and I think that's such a good story when you get so many different side stories, which are all super awesome, and there's so it's Rockstar's really good at that whole like, hey, I helped that woman down the lane like 3 hours into the game, hour 60. Hey, because you found that I was able like to afford a whole farm and I have a whole family. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it does a weird payoff where you do something you don't think about it and then you come back later you're like, oh fuck, that's cool. Um, I think Red Dead 2 is really peak. It got fucking so robbed at the Game Awards. I'm still upset about that.
Yeah,
I
and you get to kill the clan.
yeah, the fuck, you can watch them burn. Uh, one day I'm excited for David to play that. I think David's gonna be surprised at how much he actually really enjoys that story. Final Fantasy
One
7,
day.
Final Fantasy 12. So I gotta feed my cat. That means you
Ooh.
guys can talk a lot about Final Fantasy. So
Yeah,
So,
so I gotta real quick, 7 I can maybe understand the argument for why it's here. I gotta ask why fucking 12 is potentially here.
Yeah, so again, my list was based off of like games that kind of impacted me playing them. So 7 was one of those. Of course, you have the Eris moment, then you have all the highs and lows with Sephiroth. So it's 7 was more of an emotional roller coaster type of thing. It takes you places and it takes you to a lot of different places. For me, 12 was more of like the marvel of it all. Like that first moment that you see a judge in 12, it's like
Mm.
terror inducing, awe inspiring, and for some reason your rock hard at the same time. So it's one of those things. It's like it's a solid game. I don't think it's a great story, and I don't think it's the best story, but for what it was at the time, I feel like it kind of hit all the dots for me. But I feel like there needs to be a Final Fantasy representative there, and I'm open to any and all inclusions.
That's fair. So here's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with 12. On one hand, 12 had a lot of unfortunate meddling in the story, and it shows with Ash and Penelope and Vaughn. I'm the fucking captain. Shut the fuck up. But on the other hand, it gave us Bunny Waifu Fran. So, I mean, but alternatively, it also depends on which version of 12 we're talking about.
Right. I need to play the
Because
new one. I haven't played
or-
it, so
I honestly, I've tried a little bit of the remake, which is based on the international version of 12,
Mhm.
and it is a night and day difference having a proper job system again versus the freeform job board. Because I hated the job board in 12 originally.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, Why do I need a license to wear a fucking hat? Last I checked, this was America, not Britain. But the humor aside, I thought the license board was a dumb idea as originally explained. So I'm like, oh, you're just taking the sphere grid, but you're making it even more obtuse. Got it. Okay. So I liked with the remake / international version where they gave you jobs, but like 10, you can still branch people to essentially whatever you want, kind of. It just required a lot more effort. But I wouldn't put 12 anywhere near there just because there's too much going on in terms of heinous writing, in terms of just at odds gameplay elements. But if we're talking classic Final Fantasy, because I have 14 on my list, because I think that if we're talking MMOs, 14 is peak. My heart will always have a soft spot for Ragnarok Online, but 14 is the pinnacle of MMO. But if we're just talking Final Fantasy in general, you ask me a different day, you get a different answer. I think either 9 or Tactics belongs to be the Final Fantasy representative.
I think we put 7.
Because 7 I get. 7 has the mass market appeal. 7 is the one everyone kind of latched onto. But 9 has the poignancy. It has the intentional kind of Shakespearean vibe to it all. It has a lot of elements of just grief and loss and pain that is felt throughout, and I feel like is handled better in 9. Because for a lot of the team, it was their swan song. It was their goodbye to doing these games. And so a lot more heart and emotion, I feel like, went into 9. But come on, however, you then have Tactics, which was like, nah, fuck that. We're going to do something entirely different. Let's actually commit to doing a serious political drama. And you have an amazing, wild world. It is truly one of the great grandpappies of strategy RPGs, aside from Ogre Battle, which I go ahead.
I like your talk. I want to keep it on the games that we're on, otherwise we're going to spiral out a little bit. I think I can agree with 7 being on there.
If we're just talking about strictly what's there, out of 7 or 12, yeah, I'd say 7 should be there.
Unless Kells, you really agree with one of David's picks, because I've played 7. That's my horse in this race.
Yeah, no, I'm not hardline on any of them. But 7 is the one that I feel most strong about.
All right, 7 it is then.
All right.
Fuck, I'm just realizing we're gonna have to play like 300 hours of games just to get that full story in the remakes.
Yeah.
Forza 3.
All right, you guys, there's a bunch of sports and racing games, so you guys talk about these for a while.
Yeah, so Forza is my racing game representative. If it's not Forza 3, it would probably be like Horizon 2 or 3.
Do you not like my Burnout 3 takedown? Or
no, great.
Or Revenge? I say that's the wrong one. Burnout 3 takedown.
My only issue with that is that's more arcade, but great game nonetheless.
Okay, so do we want to go for...
I feel like we'd have to narrow it down to 1 if we're just doing 25. I feel like there's no way that they both make it in. So I'm down with Burnout 3.
If you want to go with Forza.
Nope. Especially with how, if it's games to recommend to someone just to play, I feel like Burnout's a lot better of a recommendation.
Burnout 3, I'm so bummed that just disappeared. It really belongs. I feel like a Burnout Resurgence is what we need.
They tried with Paradise. Nobody wanted it.
Paradise was different though. I didn't mind Paradise, but the open world thing, it's just like I just want to give me some cool ass like levels. Like that's all I want. Because sometimes like Paradise had this thing where it's like sometimes you take a wrong turn on accident, and like even though it blocks off most of it, There's not enough of it, and I'm like, fuck. So you gotta really study the map.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing with Midnight Club LA.
Yeah,
Like you could just narrow it down, give us smaller, like give us an actual like kind of a course to run. We'll like it way more. Nah, dude, you gotta
Right, but you know you're
make it
in
all
here.
open map.
I thought y'all would go with Driver in terms of car game. Driver San Francisco would have been funny.
God, classic.
All right, Skate 2.
That is my sports tree. Honestly, peak skateboarding game. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it
Great
up there
game.
because we have no representation for that. David is.
Yeah, we don't have any sports games, period.
I have one.
NBA Jam.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we'll get to there. But
Yeah, talk about Dishonored 2. They also have
Jesus,
they
dude.
got the cat back there.
Yeah, Dishonored 2.
Mine.
Sweet.
You want in
Stealth
or
game,
out
a
of
lot
this
of fun.
railroad? You want out, okay.
Another game with kind of like decisions kind of sort of do matter. Like you can technically fail out of missions and like it just kind of changes the story a little bit. So I think that's cool.
That's fair. Is that your favorite arcade game?
Trying to think of what else they've done. So Dishonored 2. Did they do Prey as well? Or was that
Are we talking about Arcane?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's only one correct answer, and that's Deathloop. I'm not kidding.
Not a
Fucking
Dishonored
Deathloop
fan?
was fucking phenomenal. I haven't fully played through Dishonored, any of them.
How are you gonna say it's
honestly,
definitive and not have played those?
Because that was my game of the year. That fuck off.
All right.
Deathloop was fucking peak.
I haven't played Deathloop, but Prey was fun too. I like the newer Prey.
Prey was fine. I didn't mind.
I feel like that was a different Arcane. I can't remember. I can't keep track of which one does which.
Yeah, because that wasn't Leon. That was
Was it Austin? Arcane Austin?
Yeah,
and
something
then
like that.
Leon?
Hey,
Because
Perry said
Leon's
they
the
have a
one that's
soft
the
spot for
weird.
Dishonored 1, but 2 is a cool choice, and Deathloop may be almost top arcade game for them.
2 gives you more gameplay variety,
Exactly.
but
It's kinda-
again, it goes into that thing where 1 is a more streamlined experience.
It's kind of like that fallacy where, like, do I recommend the newer game because there's more options, more gameplay there to be had, or do I recommend the like more narrowed, honed in game of the original, right?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how it is. Dishonored 1, I don't think is held back by being the original any, but I feel like it is like more honed in, while Dishonored 2 is like much more expansive.
So how do we feel with Dishonored 2?
I mean, again, not married to it. Like, this is just one of those top games in my list that I would recommend. For
I'm gonna
games
put
that
it
I like.
italicized. We will come back.
Yeah.
Pokemon Crystal.
This.
I think we
year,
all differ. We all differed in different Pokemon games. Can we all agree on a Pokemon game though? If we all had something, or no, David never mentioned Pokemon.
I didn't mention Pokemon, but I mean, I got a lot of strong feelings on Pokemon.
Now,
Yeah,
let me throw this out there though. We do have a turn-based RPG already.
I mean, we got a lot of turn-based RPGs once we get to my side.
So, do we need Pokemon?
I'm fine keeping that as an honorable mention if that's something that we just keep through to the end.
All right, so I'm gonna keep italicized for us to come through, and we'll come back and do
All
this yet. Mass Effect 2.
I think Mass Effect 2 is essential.
Yeah, so I didn't put this on my list, and I'm surprised I didn't. I think Mass Effect 2 it broke my rule of I need to start at the beginning. I just went straight to 2, and I think that was fine. I think
I
it's
think
such a
That's how I
standalone.
started it off. I played Mass Effect 2, and then I went back and played 1, and I was like, I'm kind of glad I started at 2.
1 is the best game in the series. I don't give a fuck what any of y'all say.
2 is such a standalone and amazing experience. You can I mentioned this before plenty of times, but I remember like specifically getting to the suicide mission and like having to pause and like pace around my living room, being like, all right, who the fuck do I
I
send?
was pissed the first time going through the suicide mission, dog. Like, I was mad. I immediately rebooted the game. Well, I like finished
the whole
game
game?
and Well, I finished it and then immediately went and like, nope. I have to go back and I have to undo all of this.
We gotta go back.
We gotta go back.
Yeah. So, I fuck with Mass Effect 2 a lot. I would put that on my list too. David would argue for 1, but he's not going to win that argument. So, are you okay with 2?
I mean, yeah, I think Mass Effect should be represented in some capacity.
Okay. Arkham City.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I think we already kind of covered like the open world Western kind of thing with the Red Dead, so I feel like that one can kind of be skipped over, right?
Yeah, because it's one of those things where I get why you would want to put an Arkham game here. But again, kind of like what I was saying with like Walking Dead, I don't think that when you compare it to other games in this genre, it's really a standout. It's just a good game, but it's not a standout of its own genre.
I feel like if it were to slip in, it would be solely due to the fact it being a superhero game.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's how
But
it slides.
that's not cut its slack though. I think it does a lot of things amazingly well.
No, yeah, I feel like it's a very great game, but like you said, if we're going off of like the genre of the game, there are better genres, but if we're going off of like
Top
hey,
25
you
all
wanna play
time
a
someone needs to
superhero
play.
game? Yeah.
Metroid Fusion.
And going back to David's original question, this is just the Metroid I played the most of. It was on Game Boy Advance, so I played the shit out of it.
Man has the audacity to not put fucking Prime on here.
Well, those are two different Metroid games. Like you can put them both on there.
Yeah, Fusion is basically if you made Metroid 1 into a proper Metroidvania, into what it became after the fact. But still,
make a game.
I think if like
Crisis.
If we're talking like the top games of all time, I'd sooner sit someone down in front of Prime than I would Fusion.
Sure.
Everyone asks, how does Metroid Dread fare against those two?
I haven't finished Dread, but I liked what I played of it, minus the Emmys. I think they're a useless addition.
Kels?
I'm with David. I haven't finished it, but I feel like it's taking what Metroid Fusion kind of did and just building. It's a modern interpretation of it. Almost.
I'm shocked. I'm the only one that finished that game. I liked it a lot. I can't compare to these other ones. So, I put Hollow Knight in as this kind of representation.
For sure, I no argument there.
I'd argue against it because when you're talking about the Metroidvania, there's two sides of it. Fusion is definitely more Metroid than Castlevania of that side of the genre, and I'll fully admit, the Metroid side of the Metroidvania is my least favorite element of it. But I think that Fusion is a fine enough example, but I'd sooner go Super Metroid than I would that. If we're talking like pure Metroidvania of the Metroid side.
But wait. So yeah, but if we can't have both Metroid and Castlevania, shouldn't we have Castlevania? Should we just like get something that marries both as best they could?
Yeah, which is Castlevania, Symphony of the Night.
I'm gonna throw it at Kels.
I did my list on a different criteria, so I don't think there's any wrong answers here.
David, you put Symphony of the Night?
But I do agree with
I did put Symphony on my
Okay, so I think we're kicking out Fusion because it's gonna be either Symphony of the Night or Hollow Knight at some point. We'll see what happens.
Both are great picks.
RE2 remake.
Yeah, so this is my
David shaking his head. I can see this on there for sure.
This has made its way into my heart and is now one of my top favorite games after playing it. As I mentioned earlier, Control, that was an easy kind of pitch for me because it wasn't even my favorite game of the year, which easily went to RE2 Remake. That year, I guess, 2019 or whatever. It was, I think it's just a really good retelling of RE2. Doesn't step on what came before, and I don't think, I mean, what came before is still there. This is just a new interpretation of it.
And you can play it again. I think we should heavily emphasize a lot of games that don't require other games to enjoy that game, right?
Right, because this one is almost entirely detached from what happens in 1 and 0,
It's
right?
got tidbits in there for fans, but like
Right.
nothing essential.
Mhm.
I said I would argue for 7, but honestly most Resident Evil games recently are pretty good, or most Resident Evil games.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if we're just like which Resident Evil, if we're just picking one, 100% 7 I'd put here, but or 3 original, but that's
Oh,
also
God.
my own bias talking.
Yes, it is.
I fully admit that's my own bias
Yeah.
talking. But like if I was to take my bias away, straight up 7 I think would be the pick.
That's funny because I would have picked RE4 remake.
Yeah, if we're putting one Resident Evil to represent, it'd be RE4 remake for me as well. But RE2's remake's my favorite, personally. But I feel like RE4 remake's probably the one I'd recommend to other people.
David, your thoughts on RE4 remake?
I haven't played remake, but I mean I enjoy the Wii version of 4, so. But I would still say that, like, as a standalone, here's the thing: if I'm, it depends on what I'm in for. RE4 is not a terrifying game. It is not a horror game. It is an action game.
Okay. So
with horror elements.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Yeah.
Because I think that solves it. I think we have a lot of running gun games, right? We got like some Halos, we got some shooters.
Yeah.
I think going for RE7 for the straight horror aspect works for me.
Do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
All
right. We talked Walking Dead, Elden Ring, or Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, so I'd probably end up going with Elden Ring. I don't know if it's recency biasy, but Dark Souls 3 was my favorite until playing Elden Ring.
And I'll add on to this, like I threw in Demon Souls as an honorable mention just because I feel like the soul genre should be represented in some capacity. I don't have any strong horse in the race, so if you wanted to go Elden Ring, I'm not going to argue against that.
That just fits, I think. If someone has not played it more than a couple hours, though, I think that fits. Jak 3.
Yeah, but you skipped over one. Oh, wait, no, because Kels and I...
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, but I'm just curious. Jak 3.
Yeah, so that was my more modern platformer inclusion. I feel like 1 was great, loved 1. 2 was that weird time in the PlayStation 2's history where I feel like everything was dark and edgy. Like you had Prince of Persia 2, you had Jak 2. I think there was a Ratchet and Clank that was kind of like edgy at that time too.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a weird time. I feel like Jak 3 kind of course corrected a little bit, but kept like the harder tone to it. Just a lot of fond memories there. I haven't played it recently, so can't comment.
You didn't put Daxter on PSP there?
God, I need to go back and play that too. Go kill some roaches.
Would you be opposed to us kicking that off in terms of for other?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Go for it.
Yakuza 0. So you guys want to talk your piece on this?
Fucking peak.
This game had me playing slot cars for like 5 hours and just like one.
Hell yeah!
That's how fucking good it is. Like it's fucking stupid how
Here's the thing.
This game can be.
Yakuza 0, if you just focus on the story as a 20-hour game,
yeah.
There's so much side content that you actually want to do that it's a 120-hour game.
You know what I'm thinking? I think I've been trying to get into Yakuza, and I keep trying to do it on the Steam Deck, which it plays great. But like I said, I'm having that thing where I have a mental block playing games on anything lately. So I'm like trying to figure out what.
Isn't Kiwami on Switch now as like a digital cloud thing?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking right now I'm gonna install Yakuza 0 on PC and just see if I can do like streams of that, because again I need to change something. Like I'm getting too my brain just drifts off when I'm anywhere playing any game other than I think right here. So
fucking 0 is
maybe I stream that too. I should start streaming that.
Yeah, I want to get back to that one. It's so good.
All right.
I feel bad not finishing. It's that good.
The dual protagonist setup is one of the most clever setups for it. And is one of those things that my partner experienced this where like even if like Kiryu is not necessarily like everyone's interesting kind of character, because Kiryu, especially in Zero, is like that like white meat baby face, to use wrestling parlance, where it's like, yeah, he's not a good guy, but like he's a good guy. He means well. He's just in a rough profession. But like at the end of the day, you know he's there to be a badass. Majima, when you get first introduced to him in chapter 2, technically chapter 3, but when you get first introduced to Majima, that is a like, okay, who the fuck are you? What is your story? I need to know more about what's going on here. Kiryu is like, okay, Kiryu's here for the long-term fans, but to really get the background of the Mad Dog of Shimano, fucking chef's kiss.
It's so perfect how they endear you to both characters in completely different ways.
Yes, because it works on so many different levels. The game works phenomenal either way you play. I personally think that starting with Zero is the best way to do it, but it works on a couple different levels, because when it came out, like Majima was like this weird, like Joker-esque mystery character where like you kind of understood by this point where he stood, but you still didn't know how he got to this point. Like you had a couple ideas. We got a little bit of flashbacks in like 4, but like you didn't get the full detail. And Yakuza 0 gives you that detail of why Majima is Majima. But even beyond that, it does a lot with Kiryu to like give you an explanation of why Kiryu is such a badass. Also, you can start with Yakuza 1, but the way that Yakuza 0 perfectly bookends straight into Yakuza 1 is so chef's kiss. Like, I honestly think that even though it's not release order, you're doing yourself a disservice not playing 0 before going into 1, because I truly feel like 0, 1, and 2 should be treated as a trilogy. Mm-hmm. They just dovetail into each other so perfectly that where each character moment ends, it has that final like build end moment. You know, the build up with Kiryu and his companions that he comes across in 0, and then seeing that 10-year shift in 1, and just seeing with that opening cutscene difference. That opening cutscene of 1 has so much emotional weight if you played 0. If you just start 1 without playing 0, it's like, oh, that's an intriguing mystery. But with playing 0, it's like, oh, how did we get here? What happened? No.
All right, David, you told me.
Oh,
all right, almost done with Kel's list.
Fucking peak.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Simple and clean, baby.
Right, but does this belong on a top 25? Like, is this like a game? Because I feel like I would feel weird if you recommend this to me and I would just skip 1 forever. You know what I mean? Like,
problem is you can't.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, you can't skip anything.
Yeah, so like Mass Effect, I know it's gonna hurt you to say, David. Mass Effect 1 is not essential when you're playing Mass Effect 2.
Fuck you, it's a better game.
It doesn't matter. Kingdom Hearts 1 is essential for Kingdom Hearts 2, right? So like essentially,
every Kingdom Hearts game is essential.
Right. So with that logic, we'd have to include Kingdom Hearts 1 on here. In which case, is that going to be a choice for us?
No.
But it deserves
full
talk.
Stop. No.
It deserves a mention because I know
Hearts 1 is required material, but it's not peak material.
Okay, so I'm glad we said that. So we're gonna do that. But I think, Kels, do you want to say your piece as to why this is on here for sure, though?
Great game, fun story. Has one of the best fights in all of video games. The Sephiroth boss fights were always something I looked forward to in Kingdom Hearts. Fuck you, Square, for taking that away in 3.
Spoilers.
Also, another spoiler moment: the Battle of the Thousand Heartless. Chef's kiss. The ultimate fan service fucking moment. Just everything about that whole fight was fucking peak. And that is Kingdom Hearts 2 in a nutshell. Is like they were like, okay, let's enhance the fan service, but like let's also give this game good gameplay. And Kingdom Hearts 2 Still the best gameplay in the series. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Best game.
I'm excited. I
gameplay-wise.
stopped playing Kingdom Hearts 1. I'll go back to it eventually, but man, that gameplay is it's hurting.
Yeah, and it's rough too because a lot of it. So a lot of it gets ironed out the more you play because you'll get your double jump, you'll get your glide, and it becomes a lot more fluid and a lot more
Okay.
fun to play.
But
it
it's
takes
also
so long to get there.
But it's also counterintuitive
Yeah.
because you're gonna want to naturally like level up your combos. It's a trap. Don't
Yeah.
level up your combos. Never put points into combo extension.
I'm sorry, why is that again?
There's 3 reasons for it. One is you actually do less damage with combo extensions because of the fact that your chance to crit is better if you have a shorter combo because it's just going off quick 3-hit succession versus a super long combo. The second reason, you can get hit out of it. And Kingdom Hearts is all about the third reason, which is that most of your damage comes from the combo finisher. And where all your damage is coming from the combo finisher, it makes 0 sense to put points into extending your combo when all of your combos damage is mostly coming from that last hit. It makes more sense to do just 2 quick hits and then the combo ender than it does like a 7-hit combo and then the ender,
Interesting.
where you could potentially get knocked out of it.
I got to go give the cat a shot. So do you guys want to talk about BioShock real quick?
Hell yeah. Fucking beauty. The successor to System Shock. And honestly, I would make the argument from a modern gaming landscape more important than System Shock. I don't know how you feel about that, Kels, but
I feel so BioShock's an interesting one for me because it ticks a lot of boxes for me because it does have those horror aesthetics to it. It has kind of like those creepy philosophical like vibes to it, especially in the story, but also there's like it has this weird like undertone of like violent body horror, which I really enjoy too, which is because you get a lot of that right through like the different powers that you get. A lot of the marketing was kind of preempted on like the big daddies fucking you up in like the most violent ways possible. Because I remember vividly, there's one where like you put your hand up and the big daddy just like drills through the palm of your hand. It was like what's supposed to be like one of those shock marks. Anyways, it was just like one of those games where you felt small and like an insect compared to everything else. Like you were in this weird place and everything was out to kill you and everything could and would kill you.
Yeah, it had the genuine feeling like doing your best to rage against a world that just wanted you dead.
Exactly. Yeah, like you were not supposed to be there and everything around let you know it. Actively hostile environment. But it was one of those games that has a lot of really cool environmental storytelling if you're looking for it.
Yes.
And the vibes are immaculate. It's like the easiest way to put it. A lot of the tone is set in the environment, and I feel like a lot of that's accomplished just really well.
It's so good at the little small detail storytelling, and also really good at just pulling the emotional heartstrings in ways you wouldn't expect. It does a really good job of like giving you absolute monstrosities and then saying, okay, but like there's a sympathetic side to it too, and then going, oh fuck, okay.
We're talking about Fortnite, right?
Yeah, Fortnite. Do that floss dance, Soldier Boy.
So where do we land with BioShock? What do we think? I think BioShock makes it on this list.
I think it has an argument to be on the list.
I think we put it on there.
I feel like if BioShock makes it on, would you have to bump out Fallout, or could those exist on the same?
They could coexist, I think.
Yeah, okay. I think
let's keep that idea open if this list gets too big, which it will. Gotcha. But for now, I think it makes it on the list.
Yeah, I think they're different genres. Like Fallout is the open world kind of action RPG, where BioShock is like survival horror with RPG element.
So
Gotcha.
I'm thinking this is gonna be a 2-parter episode. We're not done with Kel's. We're gonna go through David's, go through mine, and then have to reassess everything, right?
Yeah, so
So-
maybe the reassess will be the second part.
Maybe. Let's see how fast we get through your list,
All right.
and we'll see where we're at. So, out the gate, David, the House of Fame. You've talked the high
I have
heavens
sung
about
this
this.
game's praise at nauseum.
Your mic's cutting out a little bit, by the way. Try to tilt it a little bit.
I have sung this game's praises ad nauseum. It is definitely one of those things. Second replay, I understand that they could be trimmed down a little bit of fat cut from it, but the emotional.
You're still cutting out.
I don't know what else to do.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll check it out after this time. But yeah, it's doing that old thing your mic used to do. But yeah, it hasn't done that in a long time now.
Well, it's because now I'm on my habit.
It just cut out hardcore right there. Yeah.
That was perfect.
All right, but sorry, David, you're good. Go ahead and
Hold on, I'm trying to adjust this bitch.
adjusting.
All right, there we go. Now it should not cut out because I basically adjusted my sensitivity, so it's always fucking going off.
Hell yeah.
But no, I have sung this game's praises far and wide. Absolutely distinct art style, phenomenal setting. The characters are interesting, unique. Definitely leaves you with a feeling that there's no good in the world, but there is hope in the world. It is just an oppressive struggle of a game that is absolutely beautiful and poignant. Highly recommend it. And I think that if I had to pick like one game to represent visual novels, it's still my one game for it.
The only thing I would have to argue against that would maybe be Phoenix Wright, but I'm gonna trust your choice in this and how much you've spoken about this and let this be a pure visual novel because I think this is pure visual novel, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's
not,
pure visual novel.
yeah,
There's
which
no,
is
like,
different
puzzle.
than Phoenix Wright. So, Kels,
Yeah.
if you have any objections,
I have no experience in the genre besides the little I've played of Phoenix Wright. So
All right.
okay. Grim Fandango.
Hell yeah. This beautiful point and click adventure game. You needed to have some representation of the point and click genre here. While the genre can be frustrating, especially the LucasArts genre, it is, or at least the LucasArts games for point and click adventures. Grim Fandango is so unique, so beautiful. It is just one of the most original concepts for just gaming in general. You don't see that setting or you don't see anything like Grim Fandango period in gaming.
It's truly an adventure, and it's not like, I mean, it's a big adventure, right? But it really just becomes a personal adventure.
Yes.
Which those are some of my favorites where it's like, yeah, there's a big thing going on here, but really it's like a journey for these characters. And I'll never go about just not saying it, but one of my favorite moments and one of the hardest is that goodbye that
Yes.
Glottis and Manny have, where it's like they had so much fun. You could tell they really love each other, right? They're just goofballs, but like that's that friend breakup where it's like, all right, we this is it. Like we got to go our own separate ways, and it's so poignant. Like that moment resonated with me so much. That whole ending just makes it really really cool. But like it's such a sweet adventure the entire way. It's funny, it's quirky, it's absurd. Everyone's got a personality. And art style, it's old, but like the art style still hits. Like it still looks amazing.
It's so distinct that it hasn't really aged in the sense of like, if you look at a lot of like polygonal games of that era, like they've aged, but because it is so different, it still holds up so well.
Yeah. I really like it, and the music's amazing. The voice acting is fun. Um, it really is a game that I'm glad that you guys had me play because uh that was a game that probably would have never like I've had it, right. It's always sat there. It's never
Yeah.
like spoken to me like I've never been like, oh, I should, but like I'm very glad you guys got me to play that because man, it was a really good time.
And like crazy, A Pepperoni says in the chat, he's not too familiar with LucasArts game, but Grim Fandango is one that he is aware of. Really, the only like two that, even if you're not familiar with like adventure games, especially LucasArts ones, the two that always come up are Grim Fandango and Monkey Island. And wow, yeah. And while I like Day of the Tentacle, I like Monkey Island, Grim Fandango is just so distinct and beautiful. It's just, again, you
love
even
that
to
cast.
this
The
day,
cast is so fun.
It's such a phenomenal cast, and we've yet to see anything else with its style. Just
I would
straight up.
love. I don't want a sequel. If you did a sequel, that'd be bad. But I want something else in that world.
Yes, 100%.
Give me something else in that world. Give me different characters. Do not. I don't. My crossover a side character. That's fine. But like, don't touch that.
I don't want any of those same
nice
characters
bow.
to appear again.
That was a nice bow. Like if you want a background gag somewhere for one funny character, that's cool. But like everything else, leave. Like
Yeah, like maybe the children that were locked up in the fucking cell that you threatened with the bone saw, but
because like really the goodbye felt like a goodbye that I had with everyone. So it's like I hope it sticks that way. So
yeah,
big plus to that.
Yeah, so 100% should be there. Civ 6 I have here just because, and specifically the complete edition, because like with every Civ game, it's only good when the game is fully done, which is when all the DLC is out. But 4X is an interesting genre where I feel like that's the perfect segue for like board game people. If you're a board game person, but you haven't really gone into video games, I feel like Civ is that gateway drug. And especially where Civ can get so addictive when you get in the flow of it, it's so easy to go into that one more turn mindset of like, all right, I'm gonna just fuck around here. I'll play this for a couple turns, and the next thing you know, it's 13 hours later.
Do we think it stands in best top 25 though?
No.
Okay.
I think it deserves to be mentioned, but
Kells, do you have anything to say about Civ 6?
No. But do we think there is like a simulator game like that deserves a spot?
Car Simulator.
Slime Rancher.
No, I think that's a good point though. We might need to put simulator and rethink what goes in there.
Power Wash Simulator, obviously.
Honestly, don't joke with me.
I'm not joking.
Or I guess strategy game, I guess, if you will.
XCOM?
Phrase like that.
That goes into strategy RPG territory.
Fire Emblem.
That also goes into strategy RPG territory.
Yeah, it's kind
Roller
of
Coaster Tycoon.
all those genres.
Perfect. That's a good simulator. You know what? The Sims. Fuck it.
Look, what's up? I'm gonna put this as italicized because that's a fair point.
All right.
Sacred
next
2, Fallen
supplement.
Angel. Oh wait, no. So,
yeah.
We were talking about Fallen. Sacred 2.
So I almost put Diablo 2 on here, but honestly, gun to my head, if I'm talking about top-down action RPGs, in the vein of like Diablo, Sacred 2 is the standout one for me. Fantastic, unique, distinct world, elements of like cyber future meets retro fantasy, a lot of really distinct visual elements. It has a really fun, customizable gameplay loop. You can augment and change and develop your spells. It's everything that I feel like Diablo 3 wanted to be before Diablo 3 even was a thing. Highly recommend it. It is the standout. I don't know if necessarily the genre needs top 25 recognition, but if you were looking for like that Diablo style RPG, Sacred 2 is the one I would recommend 100% of the time.
What does it make it? Do you think, or?
I don't think it deserves top 25. No. Like if we're with all the games we already have in contention, I think it's maybe italicized. but on its own merits, as opposed to just looking at it as a representative of the genre. No.
Okay. 13 Sentinels. Now here's the
fucking peak. Fucking peak.
I'm excited to eventually play this.
This is the only game where I'm like, I mean, it kind of crosses over into a couple different genres, but I don't care. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim truly is one of the few games I wish I could erase my memory of this game so I could experience it fresh.
I'm gonna do
fucking
this.
peak.
I know I just said we're gonna italicize Civ 6, but we're adding a lot now. I'm realizing we're gonna talk about Lightning again. So I'm gonna
Yeah, fucking yeet Civ 6. No one cares anymore.
But we'll keep 13 Sentinels, I think, because you're. Cal, do you have any experience with 13 Sentinels?
None.
Fucking peak.
That's missed a game I've always been wanting to play. Dave was always on play, and it looks like it held out to.
It's so fucking good. Holy shit. Oh man, I can't. You just have to experience it. Like that's all there is to it. You just have to experience it.
Disgaea or no? So I cut out third strike because we have a fighting game in there.
That's wrong.
Okay, but we're not gonna split 1v1 in tag. I know.
Okay, but I would sooner put Third Strike over Marvel vs. Capcom.
Right,
2.
but then we disagree with that. I would not put Third Strike on there.
Kels, are you able to tiebreaker that?
He's Tekken.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why my middle ground was Tekken Tag 2. We got the tag elements you want in there. Got the Tekken game that he wants there. That was our combination. But you wanted to lean on.
I do think that Third Strike is a better fighting game than Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but fine.
Okay. I understand that, but we can't have two fighting. David, I know.
We can. They're different.
No, we have too many games. Disgaea 3.
Phenomenal game. Truly, I feel like a standout of the strategy RPG genre. It is definitely the one I would recommend 100% of the time for someone trying to get into the genre. I think in terms of this list that we have of however many games, I don't think it stands out as like a top 25, but any night and day, I would say that it is fucking peak strategy RPG.
StarCraft 1.
There's no better RTS. Like, I love Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. I almost had it here instead. But StarCraft 1 is just the quintessential.
Agreed.
And I think it does deserve to be here. Because to this day, StarCraft 1 still play competitively.
Huh.
There is still a super strong competitive community for StarCraft 1 over StarCraft 2. And over any of the other RTSs that have come out since. This was a game in 95 that still goes strong to this day.
Okay.
The community is that hardcore.
So you put it on there then?
Yeah, 100%. It has an argument to be there.
Kels?
I vouch.
Let me just count out where we're at right now. Let's see. 2, 3,
28.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right, we have room for one more. We're gonna trim out this stuff too, but just realize that when we're adding games, doesn't need to be on there. As we go to Chrono Trigger belongs on there.
Yeah, 100%. It is peak fucking RPG. Just
amazing music, amazing art style, amazing story, amazing characters.
I say take out the Final Fantasy representation and put in Chrono Trigger.
I can fuck with that.
I'll allow it. Let's go.
Wait, did I not put in FF7? It'd be so funny if I didn't.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I didn't.
Oh no!
All right, well,
No.
All
right, we did it.
Chrono Trigger is now the gatekeeper into the category.
Yeah, turn-based RPG. There you go. Can you beat Chrono Trigger?
All right. Cold Step Saga. I think I'm gonna go with this thing that you were saying about Civ, and that it covers the board stuff, but Civ didn't make it through. But I know Cold Step Saga is cool.
It's phenomenal. It's distinct. It's unique. I can understand it not being in a top 25 period.
Okay. I do want to play that eventually.
It's so good.
All right, David. Are you going to die on this hill? I think you're going to die on this hill, right? And you know what? It looks better because there isn't technically a Final Fantasy game on there now.
It does look better because of that. It's also... I'm going to counter argument myself. I don't necessarily think that an MMO needs to be a need to play game because there's so much investment to playing an MMO. I adore 14. It is the first MMO that usurped my true love of MMOs, which was Ragnarok Online. I played that MMO for 7 years straight, and 14 was the first one that really got me off it.
He got him off.
Hell yeah. Ishtola do be a cutie. But as much as I adore FF14, I don't think it needs to be played. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just never recommend to someone an MMO unless they're like, "Hey, bro, can you recommend me an MMO?"
You know what? I like the time sink of a tabletop RPG, but I just don't want to physically interact with a lot of people. Perfect. Here's an MMO. But other than that, really, no.
All right, we're talking about BioShock. David, House of the Dead.
It is the quintessential rail shooter, but does it need to be on the list? No.
Go to CC's with the boys, get fucking filled up on pizza, and then go kill some zombies.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Love Jackbox, David.
I fucking love Jackbox. This is one I would almost make an argument for.
It's so uniquely video game stuff, but it's fighting against some fucking heavy hitters, and unfortunately, I think the little guy Jackbox is not going to be able to swing up too high in a list that's already technically filled up.
That's kind of how I feel. I feel like Jackbox could almost be like a 26, like right
a
there.
very strong honorable mention.
This is like almost like
Yeah.
super like. This is like almost like you can give this to anyone, be their first video game ever.
Yeah.
Right.
But
like this is the game you
this
bust out when
not,
you have friends that don't play video games and they still have a good time.
But this is not your intro to video games. Play this. This is I am into video games. Give me a good ass list of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we can eat the Jackbox.
All right, David. You gotta make a stand here or not. EDF 5.
I know it doesn't matter how big of a stand I make for this game. It's not happening.
If you want to make a stand for it and you feel like it belongs in this top 25 and it's gonna fight off things,
I vehemently stand by EDF 5 being on this list. I will quickly plead my case. It is a phenomenal third-person shooter that toes the line of intentionally capturing the essence of schlocky B-movie feel with like Mars Attacks and They Live and War of the Worlds and stuff like that, while also equally having some horrific, heinous moments of just the realization that as the story is progressing, the world's being destroyed. And you have those interludes of the commentary that kind of starts off comedic and like, oh, we're gonna do fine. The economy's
we're putting Helldivers on this list then.
No, because this actually has a coherent narrative that is actually a strict narrative and not just making it up on the fly.
You act like that's a bad thing, Mr. D&D over here.
Yeah, but I like D&D and tabletop RPGs for different reasons. Video games.
I put it on a list, David.
Yeah, it should be there.
Okay.
So yes, thank you.
I can't promise it's gonna stay there, but for now,
that's fair.
It's vibing. Metal Slug 3, David. I put Gunstar Heroes on.
Ooh, that's a good choice too. I just think that, especially like when I think of like arcade, especially just that good classic quarter muncher. What do I want to play as like a fucking video game? Metal Slug is what immediately comes to mind. And 3, sometimes X, depending on the day, is like the peak of that like run and gun kind of genre. Gunstar Heroes, I wouldn't argue against either. But Metal Slug, the art style, the direction, the just fluidity of the combat.
I feel like Gunstar Heroes is a very accessible.
Yeah,
It was
I'd
like my
argue it's
first foray
potentially
into
more
those.
accessible than Metal Slug. Yeah.
So I'm gonna toss it to you, Metal Slug or Gunstar Heroes. I can go either way, but and you know what? I want to say this, David. Do we have any Sega representation?
No, we don't. Gunstar Heroes it is then. But
Alright.
to be fair, we didn't have SNK representation either. But
That's fair. Pixel Junk Shooter.
I put this in here as my shmup representative because I feel like it's the perfect shmup game, even if you don't like shmups.
Okay.
Because it's an adventure game that is also a shmup. Do I necessarily think it needs to be in top 25 of all time? Absolutely not. But I do think that it's such a beautiful standout. It's cooperative. You can play it with a friend. There's secrets and hidden things to collect. It is a shmup that goes above and beyond what that genre calls for, and it's wonderful for it. So I adore it. But does it need to be top 25? No.
Okay. Symphony of the Night. We're gonna italicize as it come back to this conversation. Promise you. Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn.
Peak fucking Dynasty Warriors gameplay. Peak fucking crossover gameplay. It is everything that is beautiful about the Dynasty Warriors style gameplay. The massive armies, the massive roster of characters to play as, the field control, really making it feel like you have a lot of good elements with the military momentum, actually making controlling bases matter. There's so many amazing elements to it. Does it need to be top 25? No. But god damn it, I had to put a representative of the genre in here.
Understandable. All right. Let's talk Silent Hill 2, and we've said this plenty of times, so we don't need to go into mega depth.
I was gonna say what else
We've
needs to be
said this
said?
14 times as everything's come out, but Silent Hill 2 is an amazing mess of an experience, right? Where it's like it's atrocious to play, but it's because it adds to the
It's
dread
supposed to
of the
be.
world. You don't want to be in that world. You shouldn't want to be in that world, but like everything about that world is fascinating and intriguing, and it really creates this sense of just dread. As much as and you fight the game to live in that dread, right? So, I fucking love Silent Hill 2.
Agreed.
Kels?
Peak.
Hard agree.
Okay. Portal 1.
Portal 1. Again, I needed I felt like the puzzle genre should be represented. And other than Tetris, what else comes to mind than Portal? And again, it all comes down to it's that perfect peak, just quick, rapid experience. It knows what it wants to be. It's in and out. It's done quick. And I think it fucking deserves to be in contention for top 25. It is just phenomenal at what it does.
Kels, what's your view on Portal?
Wasn't a huge fan of Portal 1. Portal 2's up there as one of my favorite games. But I understand why Portal would be recommended over it in this situation.
I like Portal a lot. Maybe it's counting it a little bit too hard to say. I don't know if it belongs to this list. I don't mind putting it on, but I don't know if it's gonna last.
Let's get rid of it.
Okay.
I think it's strong honorable mention territory, but it's such a loaded bracket.
Okay, so going real quick, David, we talked about Demon Souls already, so can I cut that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're in Final Fantasy 9. We were getting rid of that.
You want to talk Mortal Kombat Deception before I get to this next one, or Higurashi?
Yeah, Higurashi When They Cry. I'm going to talk about that real quick. That was like, I went, again, ask me a different day, you're going to get a different answer. Higurashi When They Cry is fucking phenomenal.
I think from what I've heard, though, Fate and Morgana is not a massive like step up, but a step up
It's a more concise story. Higurashi can get very repetitive, but that's kind of the intention of it. But its repetitive nature can very much turn people away. Whereas, while Fata Morgana could have been trimmed down a bit, it is a very concise narrative. But Higurashi is like, if you could have a secondary of that category, it's so good at constantly flipping expectations, at just constantly giving you setup after setup, making you feel like, oh, I know where this is going, and saying, fuck you, no, you don't. And it plays with those elements so well. It's so fucking good. I truly have a lot of strong hopes for fucking Silent Hill Forte because of that.
What happens to this game, David?
I mean, if I have to gun to my head that or Morgana in this moment, Morgana.
Mortal Kombat Deception. Kels, you got anything to say on this as well?
I mean, we already have the fighting game representative, right?
Yeah, I had it here because Mortal Kombat deserved to at least be mentioned, and especially Deception, because Deception is the peak of single player fighting game content. You had an amazing story mode. You had a lot of the kind of fun mini games with chess combat and
we had Tekken
with the
Bowling.
card combat.
We had Tekken Bowling.
No. But if you gun to my head, Marvel versus fucking Mortal Kombat, I'm picking Marvel.
All right. Nier Automata is a masterclass in what the potential of video games are in terms of story. I think it's a masterclass in building a world. And God damn him, but Yoko Taro just knows how to fuck with you in the worst way possible. Cook. He is a troll, but like a troll with a heart, and he knows how to fucking twist that knife inside you.
I'm so excited for my partner to finally get to a meal, just because we went through Replicant first, and she really attached on and adored Emil. And I'm just like, oh, but just wait. And I can't wait for her to get to that first introduction with him in this game.
Yeah, so that's in there. Kels, I would love for you to play that game someday.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. How are we feeling? Are we feeling like we need to bookmark this and come back to this next week?
I personally can keep going if y'all can.
It looks like a lot of yours are ones that already made the list, so I'm pretty sure we can power through it, right?
Yeah, so let's power through this, and then we're gonna just power through this, and we're gonna stop. We're gonna read the list that we have, and then next week we go off on cutting everything.
Sleep on it.
Yeah. And we come back. Oh, I forgot this fucking game. Okay, Silent Hill 2 already talked about. Fortnite. Yeah. I think it represents a battle royale. I think battle royale is huge.
I think it needs to be top 25.
I personally see that's a hard thing. Is I don't see it as my own top 25, but like it's Zeitgeist. It's a really good. It's a really popular multiplayer mode. It's really well made.
I'd include it, but not on the basis of it being a battle royale. Just more of it being the basis of it. More on it, the basis of it being like a platform now, because it that's kind of where it's at now. Because I mean,
yeah, you
can go in, play the battle royale. You can go in and play the music festival mode. You can play Rocket League. You can do the racing, whatever. So I mean, it's kind of like a whole like platform.
Real quick to go to what Crazy Pepperoni is saying. He's hot take. He thinks he does deserve to be there. I think that's not the hot take. I think the hot take is it doesn't deserve to be there because, again, it is technically one of the most popular games in the fucking world right now.
And it's a well-built game, though. Like, it's a really well-built game. It plays really well. Everything's super fun about it.
When I'm thinking top 25 games, like, these are the games that, if we're looking at it as, like, objectively, these are games that you should fucking play. I'm not going to say people
I'm going to make a counterpoint. I'm going to make a strong counterpoint, actually. I think we catered far too much to single player.
But if
I think we don't have any.
One EDF is there. We have our multiplayer game,
but we're still catering to like a single player. This is not a game you can play single player, and I think we have not catered to that once yet.
EDF is
You
there,
can play it single player.
but it's
Shut up.
multiplayer. It's great.
I think this caters to a whole faction of multiplayer and live service.
I don't think anyone should be sucked into live service, but I would never recommend live service. Just full stop.
Well, but I'm saying it does it the best.
Doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be recommended.
No, but when you think about like
when we're talking like top 25, yes, we're leaning towards single player, but that's because when you think about it, those are the experiences. Like it's kind of like.
But we're not saying the top 25 video game experiences. We're just saying, yeah. So like 8% it's dumb fun time with
inherently
friends.
A part of the conversation is like as an experience. You play Fortnite for 5 minutes. There you go. You have the Fortnite experience.
But I think that's selling it short. I think it's super selling it short. Especially if we're gonna incorporate the Fortnite hub, which that might be a lot. I'm not sure if we want to include that. The fact that you can, when you load up Fortnite, you have multiple ways to go about it. But like, there is a lot of different modes you could play. It's not even just Battle Royale, but it's got different modes to it. I think there's a reason why like this game has consistently stayed popular because it's a fun game. It's a really fun game when you go.
But I don't like if we're talking again, if we're just simply straight out top 25, absolutely not. I don't think it needs to be there. And I will die on that fucking hill.
So my thing is like the framing of like who are we recommending this to? If we're recommending this to someone that's familiar,
this is
with
like
gaming,
Blue Rupee's quintessential like top 25 games where these are all like solid experiences for everyone to like go through. If you whether or not like whatever you want, like there's and obviously we're catering for everything, right? There's a little bit of something for everyone. I will die on the hill.
You
can die on this hill, David, but then you have to figure out something else to pop up because I don't agree that EDF covers this whole genre. When you're going through, especially your list of you having like added a specific thing for every single subgenre to the point of even having a 1v1 versus a tag, the fact that you don't include a big, very popular multiplayer.
I had Final Fantasy 14, literally the most successful MMO.
That's not the same.
So where they have to stop selling it.
That's not the same. That's not the same. And you can't.
It is 100% the same.
It's not.
A game so successful they had to stop selling it.
That's like me saying because Silent Hill 2 is a single player game, so it's the same thing as Nier Automata. No, it's just because you can't. Just because you have a lot of people playing it does not make that the same game whatsoever.
Your argument is like it's the multiplayer. That is the multiplayer. Full stop. If we're having like straight up, if I'm talking about the multiplayer experience, full stop. 14 is the multiplayer experience.
As someone that plays much more multiplayer games than you, though, like that's not a game that I would just hop into. Like that's a narrative still based game. Not every game I want to play is a narrative-based game. In fact, a lot of times, if there is
MMO, you can skip all the narrative.
Yeah, but a lot of times, if there is, there's times where it's like, if there is narrative, I don't want to. Like, there's like times.
So skip it all.
I disagree.
I no, absolutely. I will fucking die on this hill. If we're straight up talking about goddamn multiplayer experiences, then you know what? Fuck it, I will revive
you can have both though. That's the point.
Too.
We
full stop.
If
we're talking about like best fucking multiplayer
look, here's the thing. So
we also have Reach on this list. Halo.
Yeah, but you're talking about like a sub game right now of like a 10-year-old game. Like this is an active, still very wildly popular, still
Halo Infinite. There you go, bam, slot that in.
Yeah, that's not supported as much as it should have been. There's a reason why. There's a reason why I did not. Like again, there's if we're talking like different multiplayer genres, like if we had a whole hero shooter on here, then sure. But like I have Black Ops on here, like that covers, and again, like that, even that subgenre barely even crosses over to Fortnite sometimes too. Like we're missing a whole different faction of that, and by picking up like little incremental single player experiences this way, I think it's an incredible disservice to this list if we're actively trying to cover as many people and cover a lot of different things. If we're excluding something as big as that because it's not as in-depth as you would like it. Sometimes I disagree with that, where I think the lack of depth is better in that, where I don't want to overthink and go into the minutia of things, right? I will talk about Silent Hill 2 all day, every day, and go into that. There are many days I do not want to do that. There are many days I want to go on the TV, turn on the TV, turn on my console, and play something I do not have to think a fuck about. I don't want to skip anything. I want to hit play, quick play, do match, shoot gun. Fantastic. Do that again. That's all I want to do. And
I
that's
want to whip and nay.
absolutely. There is a reason why I was playing X Defiant for a lot this summer. That was because that's not a fucking game I have to think about whatsoever. That is a game I logged in, pick quick play, leveled up some guns, fucking awesome. Quick play again, fucking awesome. Ooh,
Absolutely
cool.
not. I think if we really wanted to have like an earnest conversation about specifically having to have multiplayer representation, there's a conga line of games I would sooner have an argument for over it. But just again, just looking at it objectively as like these are the top 25 games, is like no, I would put my name on like go fucking enjoy these experiences.
Here's the
Absolutely not.
Here's my biggest issue with this conversation though, is that I would see this coming from you if you had like active experience in it though, right? Like as if you've gone through, you've not played how like diverse even the game could be through seasons. Like
No, because
it's not yours. It's not your game.
No, here's the thing. I get that the game changes quite a lot from season to season.
From even build to no build.
And that's the thing, is I've only experienced the game with build.
Which and you know what? If the game fucking existed just as build mode, fuck this game. I agree, but I just don't like how vehemently against it you are when you've only played an hour or two tops. Like that's just incredible bias.
That's all you. For most part, that gives you the idea of like here's the problem. Is like with any fucking multiplayer game, for most part, an hour or two of the game gives you the whole fucking experience of what you can expect. It's going to be more of that. An hour or two of Marvel's Capcom
can I throw something at you?
Is like 100 hours of Marvel's Capcom.
Okay, and just
an
like
hour
this,
or two of Smash Brothers.
Just like this game that you specifically said, sometimes you like Muso games because you want to sit in front of your TV and vegetate and not think about doing stuff.
I didn't argue for it to be on this list.
Right, but there's a whole thing of that happening with people with the homies.
I didn't argue for it to be in the top 25.
And like again,
as much as I am ride or die,
Pepperoni has genre. It. Fortnite has variety now for the most part. Like there's just a bunch of shit you can do in that game.
Absolutely not.
If we're not, I'm looking at this list and I just don't.
I'd sooner put fucking Fall Guys here than I would goddamn Fortnite. I would sooner put Smash here than Fortnite.
Those are for Fall Guys for sure. The gameplay is not nearly as diverse in Fortnite than is Fortnite.
I think it's actually in Fortnite right now because Epic Games absorbed the Fall Guys developers.
Actually, unironically.
You know what? Fuck it. I'd sooner Gary's mod. How about that? There you go. Bam.
I see. I don't know. I will.
I would sooner the progenitor of all this dumb bullshit, Gary's mod.
Kells, where are you at with this whole thing? Like in terms of what we should include and what we need to kick out. If we're at a deadlock right now, Kells is tiebreaker.
Yeah, so my whole issue with it is like the presentation, right? So if we're recommending a multiplayer game to someone, Fortnite probably wouldn't be my first go to someone that's like looking for a new game, because chances are anyone familiar with gaming knows of Fortnite, right?
So not for the reason you said, David. Shut up.
Well, because my issue is I'm struggling with the top 25, like who
what it's for.
Like,
okay,
is it new players or is it for like people that play games but they just want something fresh? If that's so, for multiplayer, I'm gonna be like, hey, if you have 3 other buddies, go play Left 4 Dead 2. I'm gonna pitch something like that to them. I'm gonna pitch like a party.
Okay, but can we?
Game.
So, and again, I said this at the very beginning. Is like I have games this list. I would not personally, but I understand in the grand scheme of things, I would add on here, right? So
the point is, this is the Blue Rupees top 25.
But I disagree with that already though, because if that was the case, then I wouldn't have taken time to add in different genres or do that. Like if you're talking about
I took the time to add in different genres.
You did but it landed up that way, right? But like if I asked you just off the top, like, hey, tell me some of your favorite games, a lot of them you would say Higurashi, you would say Fata Morgana, and that would be
Yeah,
your list, right?
if I
But
just off the top of my head was listing games, it'd mostly be RPGs. So, I
right,
mean,
and that's what I'm saying. So it's not necessarily your list if that's the case. That that's what it is. It's a more diverse list that we're making intentionally diverse for that reason. So to bring it back, I would not. I don't want to die on the hill for Fortnite. I do still think that you're incredibly biased against it for not very many solid reasons. You're about as biased as I was against it when it was build mode because I fucking hate build mode. But I think you're not giving it the credit that it actually deserves for being a very solid platform, I think. But with that said, I do think that we are still very leaning against an anti-multiplayer thing when that is the pinnacle of where a lot of games are these days, where it's like, what do we play then at that point? So like if we didn't add a Left 4 Dead on there, like that could have been. So I think that's something we can maybe think about on the next episode when we kind of approach this again and maybe toss a couple more into the pool. But that's something that I feel like reading off everyone's list, we didn't like my thing on that was Black Ops. What was something to cover the did I even say Black Ops on here? I hope I did.
I honestly think that's a good pick too because there's variation there, right? You can play zombies, you can go play your different custom games, you can play just straight up PvP, however you want to play it.
Sure, but none of these have been predominantly multiplayer focused. Like even with Black Ops, yeah, they talk about the numbers, Mason.
12 of my games have multiplayer.
There's a difference between having multiplayer and it being centric to this.
Jackbox is centric to multiplayer.
Okay, there's another one. Like I'd probably recommend Jackbox as a multiplayer game over Fortnite.
Civ 6, well, yes, you can play it. I'd argue
if
Civ
you're
6 is
looking to
also
play with
centric
friends.
to multiplayer.
Because can you play with randoms in Jackbox? Is that a thing? I don't know.
No,
No.
it's
Okay,
like you have to
so
have the
yeah.
code for that.
Okay, so specifically party games with friends, I'd say Jackbox. I guess you couldn't really just say multiplayer.
So when I put up Black Ops, it's like even though it has a campaign, it has that, it is more primarily focused towards a multiplayer.
100%.
And as much as I want to say,
the traditional multiplayer,
right, but as much as we want to say like Halo Reach, obviously, right, we talked about the single player. I could talk about the multiplayer for sure, but that's also just where we're at, right? So I feel like there's not like really that big, like heavily, if everyone's playing this for the multiplayer, single player is cool too. It's not like we had the reverse of that plenty of times. We don't have the inverse of that. I will kick this off because I'm not gonna die on this hill, but I do think there's still a bias here. I will not stand for this.
I can't. No, I will not accept that there's a bias when 12 of my games have.
No, I'm saying you have a
multiplayer.
bias against Fortnite when you don't have enough experience in that game to have this vehement abrasion towards it. It's like I could talk shit on EDF because you may sit through that game and I didn't like it. Actually, I thought it was okay, but Gordon didn't like it. But I could sit there. I played.
I feel like if we tried it again without Gore, it'd be a much different experience. But
Hey, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I can talk shit on this because I've played it or whatever. But I feel like you've played it and you're judging it for everything else around it, which is fair. Like I understand that, but it's also not fair.
Edith Finch is a masterpiece. Nothing else we need to
April already
say
said I'll
there.
fight you on this.
I'll fight everyone. I don't give a fuck. Let's go.
Edith Finch is phenomenal. I think it's the masterclass in walking sims. I am glad that it managed to, this incredible bias that David has towards Fortnite was also against Edith Finch before he started it. But David, like a sane person, tried it like a human being before he talked shit on it, you know. And now look at him.
Yeah, like I tried Fortnite way back.
No
when,
build.
And
Different game.
you're a different game. Shut up, nerd. No, Edith Finch is phenomenal. It is emotionally gripping. It does a lot in a short amount of time. It's just an absolute fucking masterpiece.
I love it. Limbo. All right. I think Limbo was, to me, the indie game that changed the way I perceive independent games. I think it was the game that showed me, oh, there is a whole other side to video games, side this whole AAA aspect. There is one that had these crazy, unique art styles. It's a puzzle game. It's a 3-hour game. It changed the way I see a lot of games in general, too. Inside was up there, but I think Limbo is just so magnificent in how simple and gripping it is in terms of just style.
It's a good game.
Kels, you ever play Limbo?
I did. I don't believe I finished it. That was one of those early arcade games I picked up and kind of messed around with. I didn't give it the time that it probably deserved.
Okay. So
It's one of those things I wouldn't argue against it being here, but I don't have a strong feeling about it being here either.
I absolutely fucking adore this, but I don't think it's gonna fight off against everything else as much as I would like it for it to do. So
I think it deserves to plead its argument, though.
all right, I'll put it there, and if it gets knocked out next week, it gets knocked out next week. It's a little game that tried its best. Little game that could. Gears of War. I don't think I would pick the first one. I'd probably go Gears of War 3. But that breaks my argument earlier of like, I probably said Limbo or Inside. I was going to say Inside, but like I said, Limbo is just simplistic in that. Gears of War 3 breaks my Kingdom Hearts thing, though, where I think 1 and 2 are essential for 3 to really make sense and really grip you the way it needs to. So I will sacrifice that unless anyone else wants to die on this hill.
No, I really only have experience with 1 and 2, so.
Kels?
3 is where I would land to if I was to recommend any of the Gears of Wars.
But would you also stay with that where it's like it's not necessarily top 25 because
Probably
the story mode doesn't hit as same as if you didn't play those ones?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Wii Sports. You know why I put on here? I feel like it's obvious.
You know what? Great multiplayer game.
Yeah, too bad it's not online.
You put the Switch version.
It was all right. Wii Sports is cool, but yeah. Burnout 3 Takedown. We talked about that earlier. It's fucking awesome. Crash mode goes sicko mode. Love the game, love the soundtrack, love a lot of things about this game. I wish EA would wake up and make more of these, but they never will.
Fun game. That's about all I can say about it.
Stardew Valley. This is a game that I've not put enough time into, so I kind of threw it out there for some of you guys to think about.
That is definitely peak of like the life sim / like business sim almost, kind of like that Harvest Moon category. That's a hard one. I think it has an argument for being top 25. I don't know how hard I would argue for it to be top 25 though.
Kels, any experience on this?
I'm I've barely scratched the surface of it. So I'm not like the experienced Stardew guy, but I do acknowledge like it's a relevancy for sure.
It's so fucking good.
See,
but like
I'm also like not on this boat because I've not played enough, but I feel like it really hits a niche that we have not, and I think it's incredibly strong in that category too.
Yeah, like honestly, it hits the niche of like this and Animal Crossing or just straight up Sims could easily fill. Where,
Should we just put it on there and talk it out next time?
Yeah, I think we put it there and talk about it next time because I feel like it'd more
It's a
so me
conversation
than anything arguing about it. But
fair. All right. The Last of Us.
great game.
I love the story. I think it resonates. It hits pretty hard. And I love the multiplayer, even though it's dead. Rest in peace. I feel like I'm not gonna get many people fighting for it, though. Remember, this is a game I love so much. I named my cat after it.
it's frustrating because like if this was the me that had just finished playing it, I was fucking all over this game as soon as I had finished playing it. Now that I've had more time to kind of let it simmer, it's a great game.
Tell me that last moment doesn't hit David though. Like,
oh,
that
I mean
pause
that
where she's like, "Tell me, is everything you're telling me true?" Yeah, and then just that long pause where you know her heart's breaking. You know she knows. It's like her heart's breaking, and she has to just accept that he's gonna lie about it. Because you're not a good man, David.
I mean that whole last sequence is just it's a fucking spiritual experience of like, nope, all right, we're doing this, let's go. I am here for my daughter and we're getting the fuck out. But it's hard because what we already do have a lot of narratively stacked top 25
Remember that
games here.
moment with the brothers?
It deserves to have the argument. I'll end it there. I think it deserves to have like a longer conversation about it being there.
Kells?
Haven't played it.
You ever play Last of Us?
No, it was one of those games. By the time it came out, I moved from PlayStation 3 to 360.
Okay.
And then after that, I was kind of in the position of like, oh, it's coming out on PC soon. I'll play that. And we all seen how that fucking happened. So
Are you not watching the remake on your PS5 right there?
maybe if I find it cheap.
Okay.
It's not one I'm trying to pay too much for.
Fair enough. I forgot this. Mario Galaxy.
Good game.
Solid.
All right.
Like I think that's kind of it. Is like kind of like we were talking about with the Banjo Tooie conversation of like.
I'm gonna italicize this and not
the-
put this in there because have we done platformers yet?
We did basically with Banjo Tooie.
Banjo we never put on here. We just italicized for later.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna italicize this. We'll talk about platformers next time. NBA Jam. I fucking love it. I think it's cool. It's not gonna last.
It's fun, and that's it.
Black Ops belongs on there. Sorry, David.
No.
It does. I'm not even gonna let you talk.
Kels, do you have any opinions on this?
I do think one of the CODs with zombies belongs on there, and I think either Black Ops or Black Ops 2 probably belongs on there.
I say Black
They're
Ops
both
for
bastards.
campaign. David, you would actually. I think you would like the campaign of
I'll relent
Black
on
Ops.
this one. I will relent on this one.
Have you ever played the Black Ops campaign?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
No.
That's
It was
crazy.
fine.
Hollow Knight. I think we're actually we in italicized Symphony of the Night. This will be a conversation for next time.
Yeah.
Dishwasher Vampire Style. This is the most wild card thing I ever put on there. It's cool as fuck. I'm not gonna argue though. To the Moon.
Oh my god. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention the news. Shout outs to the first To the Moon getting new DLC here in a little bit. Fucking wild. Getting a fucking beach episode.
To the
out of
Moon,
nowhere.
we mentioned, is just an incredible experience. It breaks my heart, but makes me. It's one of the only stories I've ever recalled where it breaks my heart, but also like makes me feel a lot. You know,
So fucking good.
it's one of those games. It's one of those games where you feel like it's wholesome, but then you think about it and it really breaks your heart. Like it genuinely fucks with your heart. And I actually told my I really don't want to open it. But I need to figure out a download or something for it because I want to get the girlfriend to play. And I'm like, I really am tempted to open it because obviously like, there's cool stuff in there. But fuck, man, I'm gonna make her play that because it's
So good.
it's so emotional, and I'm so glad we played that.
I wish my partner could have resonated with it better than she did, but I get why she didn't. But fucking hell, it's such an emotional roller coaster. So many layers to the
Are
storytelling.
you putting it in, David?
I think it has an argument to be there, 100%. I would fight on that goddamn hill for it to be there.
All right. Bum, 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 bum. I can already tell you Minecraft, as much as I same thing with Fortnite, I would personally put on a list of stuff I'd recommend, but I know you guys are gonna fight that, which is fine. I think
I'd sooner Minecraft be there than Fortnite. I'll phrase it that way.
That's
I don't have the energy to
too.
fight Minecraft in this moment. So if you really think it should be there, fine. But
one of my HRs was Castle Crashers. Solid game. I think great time with the friends. It's a beat 'em up,
Yeah.
which we don't really have. Very replayable. But it has a hell of a fight list against it.
yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't think it's aged well.
Interesting. I've been wanting to play it.
I think it's a fun time for the time it came out, but going back to it, I really don't think it's aged well.
I felt
in terms
that's
of the
what a
humor,
lot
at
of their
least.
games. A lot of their games were kind of like that RAR XD
Yeah.
like, 2000s. And I don't think it kind of aged all too well. That and like Alien Hominoid and what was the other one that they did? Big Block Theater or something like
Yeah.
that.
Sorry. Kentucky Route Zero. We will do that as a Games Gone by Rewind. I think it's one of the most incredible experiences ever. I was thinking about it again just like 3 days ago and almost got emotional about it.
I personally would not argue for it to be there, but however, I do think it warrants the conversation to be there based on your experience and based on how I'm expecting my partner to go through it. Because again, my partner and I have been together for 5-ish years almost now. And that's the one Games Gone By game, because she usually is there for me as I go through all the Games Gone By stuff. That's the one game she's like, I already know I'm going to love this. I need to walk away so I don't spoil it for myself so I can go into it fresh. And we're doing that during this extra life. So she'll be experiencing it proper first time here soon.
I think
But
seeing their reaction and then once I go about it and recontextualize it a little bit more, I think you might see this differently. I think I would absolutely die on a hill for that, but I'm not going to die on this hill being the only one to do that. So if we
I would argue for it to be there. It's not a personal favorite of mine, but I understand why it would be there.
No, I would too. But if we ever did a 2K25 of this, then cool, we can update. But I can't argue when we have big hitters on here, and I'm the only one doing that, right? So it will remain off. Maybe one day it fights on it. Ikaruga, I just wanted a shmup in there for something, but I don't think it competes.
Yeah, no, and I almost put that or Radiant Silvergun on my list, but again, I feel like if you're trying to highlight like the wide range of what a game could have to offer, I thought Pixel Junk Shooter was a better option. And as much as I adore shmups, I don't think I could, in good faith, put a shmup in top 25 of all time.
I fucking love Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
I think we covered what it could do in this, and I think it's going to be hard pressed to fight again. So cutting that.
Yeah.
I think if it was like a top 50 list, for sure, but
easily, yeah.
Vampire Survivors. I think it's fucking crack cocaine of video games. Kels, do you have anything to say on that?
It's one of those. It suffers from the situation of games immensely fun, but would you recommend it over like Red Dead 2 to something?
Right, which is unfair because they're two totally different games, but
right,
there is only one slot that they would occupy, and it's the same size slot,
Right.
Top 50 list, I'd be more pressed to add it on there, but a top 25 list, no.
Yeah, what are you booting out?
Right, and with that said, I'm gonna read this list that we have so far, and we're gonna take off here. So, our current quote unquote, I'm gonna put on top. There you go, top 25, quote unquote. Telltale's The Walking Dead, Doom 2016, A Link to the Past, Alan Wake 2, Red Dead 2, Silent Hill 2, Chrono Trigger, Edith Finch, Grim Fandango, Nier Automata, Yakuza 0, Fallout New Vegas, BioShock, Halo Reach, Divinity Original Sin 2, Burnout 3 Takedown, Skate 2, Mass Effect 2, RE7, Elden Ring, The House of Fate Morgana, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, StarCraft, EDF, let me put EDF 5, Gunstar Heroes, Limbo, Stardew Valley, Last of Us, Black Ops, and To the Moon. We're gonna put MVC 2 on here. David, you proposed DKC. Do we talk about that, or we just know this list is?
Man, I would argue if we're talking about platforms that all Donkey Kong Country should be in that conversation.
Yeah, I don't think a single one made it in.
For what?
Galaxy
Platformer?
10 could in.
Oh, we still have italicized stuff that we're gonna go through.
Yeah, so I had italicized Donkey Kong Country then.
Okay. I miscount. I'm not gonna count again because I'm lazy. We're roughly at around 30 some games, 30 or 30 in the 30 range. So we got to add a few games. We got to trim a few games. That's next week's us problem. But hey, I will say,
Fucking stacked list.
I will say, so far I like this list more than the one that we saw.
True.
I mean, that's a good variety of games right there.
Let's see. Should I only include games I played on my list or include games I know I would recommend based on what I know? Depends. Like, I guess if it's like your personal recommendations to other people, then sure. But if you're trying to like go for a recommendation to like overall net, then I would say include other stuff. Because otherwise it turns into my own top games list, you know. And we have plenty of those. All right. That was almost 4 hours.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Slow news week. And we still got some stuff out.
And we're still not even finished.
Stay tuned for 269, where we actually fix this list up.
The sex number.
Funny number.
Yeah,
For the
and there's
third
two of
time.
them.
Three of them.
Yeah. That's true.
Man, you can't count. All right.
No, I meant like 2 isn't the 2 in front of it.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever. All right. We're gonna head out. Hey, He69 says say pepperoni. All right. Everyone in the chat. Adios. Good luck.
See ya.